Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Great to be with you. Hope you had a great weekend. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you're going to listen live via the streaming free. Always don't miss anything. But if you do, we got you covered. All 3 hours posted every day upon the conclusion of the program, both on iTunes and in our own audio vault. Subscribe to the show on iTunes. You can subscribe to the show and watch it on YouTube, ESPN Tallahassee. Of course, Jeff Cameron Show when you're on iTunes. And we always appreciate that. Thanks so much for listening. However it is that you do, email the show if you like, JCS at 979ESPNradio.com. Find me on Twitter at JCameronShow. WTSM app is good as well. Free is always good. What a busy weekend. What an awesome one, too, for the Florida State football team and recruiting. I want to get to that almost immediately. First, though, when majors are decided, we have to lead there. I'll start with Jordan Spieth's 5 under, 65 to take a 3-shot lead into the final round. Everybody thought it was over, or so we thought. And then yesterday happened, and it was really bizarre, at times frustrating. But you talk about a talent that is unquestioned. It is his. He's mentally tough in the way, and this is the favorable comparison. And I think you can do it. It doesn't bother me that people do this part of it. He's mentally tough the way that Tiger was mentally tough. And there are all kinds of other things to say about Jordan Spieth, just as there was Tiger Woods and a lot of other guys that are atop their given profession. And they're not all nice things. But there is no denying the elite talent and the ability to do things that, simply put, very few other people can do. And that includes those that are, from a talent standpoint, in terms of the ability to hit golf shots, almost equally as talented. It's up here. It's between the ears with him, both for the good and the bad at times. And to watch that play out the way it did was simply remarkable. And so there's no getting around that. Now, I think I made it abundantly clear on social media I'm not a big fan of the kid. But I'm not going to deny what he's accomplished. Nor am I going to deny being pretty well amazed at the way that all transpired, and to think about all that he had to have had in his head after that wayward drive on 13, to know the rules the way that he did in a moment of chaos where your major is on the verge of being thrown out the window and you're about to give up 2 to 3, maybe 4 strokes on a hole that you're not likely to get back. And then to have to answer the questions that are going to be forthcoming because of what you did at Augusta, and to have the weight of that and those expectations, and to know that's what's coming, and then to figure out a way to go about the business of hitting that shot on 13 and basically saving bogey and then boat racing from there, because he's adrenalized and invigorated by what he was able to save. That's unique, and you always see that kind of greatness every so often. So Jordan Spieth is a winner again, and a major winner at that. And that stops the run, Tom, of 7 straight first-time major winners. Here's what I hope it does. Okay, let's go big. You and I will talk the rest of the day. We'll have off and on moments to talk about what happened at 13, what should have been done. Certainly what he did was within the rule book, so you can't blame him. It's hard to watch, a little frustrating, any number of things. But it stops the run of 7 straight first-time major winners. The PGA Championship is in Charlotte, Quail Hollow. That is the first locale that Rory McIlroy ever won at. Rory kind of got lost in the mix here after a disastrous start to the round, played exceptionally well. In fact, had he not been 5 over through his first 6 holes, he would have won the tournament because he was sensational. And for him to get back into the top 5 at a major like this and to show some of his old form, well, we may now get the rivalry that we've been waiting for. Think about it this way. Jordan Spieth now has 3 majors. He's the unquestioned king of golf right now of all the young talent. There's a lot of it. He's the guy. Rory has 4 majors. We forget that sometimes. He has 4. Both only need 1 more win at a specific course. For Rory, it's at the Augusta, the Masters. And for Jordan Spieth, it's at the PGA Championship. To have the career Grand Slam. And, you know, I would guess that this could be the head-to-head that we've been dreaming of from the young bucks. This is a course that Rory loves coming up for the PGA Championship. The only problem is you can't be wayward off the tee at Quail Hollow. So if Jordan is wayward off the tee, he's not going to be able to scramble like he did at the British.
I hope so, but every time we get really close to that and every time we're convinced it's happening, it doesn't. We'll get a moment here or there where, in the PGA Championship at Whistling Straits where Jason Day sets all-time records and he and Spieth are dueling down the stretch. That's great. And we thought, okay, well, here's the new world number one. As Jason Day takes that mantle, then he does absolutely nothing with it.
Nothing with it.
And you thought you would get that rivalry. It's just in the times you least expect it, you get a good major. Where, even though Spieth makes a run on that back nine yesterday, Kuchar stays with him.
Oh, he played
step
great.
for step.
I kind of feel bad for him because he actually broke out of the old MO for him. Quietly lost, and also the amazing feat of Jordan Spieth's run over the final 5 holes is the fact that Kuchar hit shots and played under par down the stretch and made the putts you have to make to give yourself a chance to win a major. Kuchar's a top 10 machine. He's won every non-major it seems like you can win. He's well thought of. He's considered the nicest guy on the tour. But that's also kind of been a knock, right? That he's not going to make shots when he has to close out majors because he never has. He did what you need to do. It's just Jordan Spieth is transcendent.
It was a classic example of if I beat everybody in the field clear and away, except unfortunately I have a generational or potentially generational player that's also in the field.
Yeah, and he is if you look at the accomplishments at his age.
Yes, I just don't want to give him credit for him because I don't like Jordan Spieth very much. and TPE asked me that question yesterday. I didn't answer it on Twitter, so here it is for you, TPE. One of those reasons I don't like him is completely out of my control, and that's the way broadcasters treat this guy. Think about this. It takes 25 full minutes, 25 minutes between his tee shot and the time he drops and actually hits another shot on the practice range on 13. Meanwhile, Matt Kuchar is having to sit there.
Being iced, sitting on the green on one knee, drawing pictures.
We talk about kickers getting iced, and it's 2 minutes. This is 25 minutes, this guy. And then the broadcasters have the audacity to say, when Spieth comes up and
how
they
humble
fist
he
pound,
is?
they say, what a great show of sportsmanship from Jordan Spieth to walk up to Matt Kuchar.
Right. No.
What?
What? Yeah.
How about a great show of sportsmanship for the guy who had to wait for a half an hour?
Yeah, it should be reversed.
It
should be reversed, yeah.
You know what? Okay, cool. Rather than, hey, punk, let's move. Let's go. And then the second thing is, man, the exchanges with the caddy, he knows the mic is on him at all moments. And that's all played up. Now, credit to him for realizing what Tiger clearly hasn't, that they're not going to turn the mic off when you're hitting a shot.
Well, I don't care anything about that. What I would say, I care about the theatrics that go on every week. And it's the hands to the sky. Oh, good God, I just hit a terrible shot. Throw my hands on my hips. The shot he hits after they let him drop on the practice green, which is, what the hell are we doing here? British Open.
That should be out of bounds.
You think?
Yeah.
So my man is hitting off the practice range, right, where he's got a beautiful eye. That's in the spirit. I got it. And because the truck's in the way, he's able to then angle over, which is not really the path of where the ball. Yeah,
guys have hit.
That's within the rules.
Guys have hit in opposite fairways before. It has been done.
This isn't quite opposite fairways, but
he did take a penalty shot. But yeah, after he hits that shot, he thinks it's a loser.
Oh, he hates the shot, but he does that so frequently,
lucky.
And it's also what angers a lot of people. Listen, let me just put it this way. He's going to be polarizing. So there are plenty of people listening now who just think it's great for the game and they love him. And they say, yeah, you know what? He's not boring. He brings something new to the game. I love it. He's got chutzpah to pull that shot off after all that time. And, competing things can be true. We say it all the time on this show. All of that is true. He's unbelievably mentally tough. I don't know that I've seen too many people like him for as long as I've been alive watching. He's unbelievably mentally tough. When it's all going to hell in a handbasket and you're on the cusp of throwing it all away again after you've heard nothing but questions about what happened at Augusta, to buck up and hit those shots and to make those putts and to step on the neck of Matt Kuchar, who's playing well because you're going to take that major, I admire it. I don't always love the theatric. I think he's kind of a prima donna. He can be difficult to embrace in that way. But I know that there's plenty of room for people with vastly different opinions about Jordan Spieth, and that's fine too.
Well, a couple of examples. One would be his opening tee shot to the round, which was pulled off the face. I don't understand Even Johnny Miller in the moment says, well, that's what you want to hit as it's in the air. I go, no, he pulled that. You can see it. And it goes into the rough, and it's a horrible lie. And he goes, well, that's just crap. I hit a good shot, and I didn't get rewarded for it. And I'm thinking, my man, everybody knows when you're on the tee, you know. Unless there's a gust of wind that comes out of nowhere where you hit that ball. He knows that he pulled that left.
But you're hitting on the things that bother you and me.
Oh, buddy.
By the way, I'll also just say this, because I did this before, and I had people emailing and tweeting at me, and this is good. It's always a good back and forth, and there's not enough room necessarily on social media to get into all this, nor am I inclined to do so. But what I will say is, we used to rip a couple different golfers that we weren't in love with. One of them is your favorite, and I'm Bubba Watson. But Bubba's not beloved on tour, okay? And when we would make comments about that, people would say, "What? I love Bubba Watson," and that's fine. You love whoever you love. I like certain guys you probably hate. That's okay. But when we would kind of, make comments that it was well known that he wasn't one of the more beloved figures on tour, you'd see people surprised by that. They are kind of surprised. And unless you're following intently and following guys that really cover the tour and have maybe said some things online and social media that let you know the inside scoop or to pull back the curtain, you may not know that. If you're just a casual observer, most people are. There's a growing list of people that are not falling in love with Jordan Spieth. And they'll be a lot like the people who weren't in love with Tiger, in that they won't be able to speak out because the talent is so transcendent. You don't dare speak out against the king and the guy that's going to bring more money to the tour. A lot of people didn't for years. A lot of people thought Tiger was abrasive, difficult to deal with, that he pushed the envelope when it came to etiquette. And I'm not talking about cursing. I'm talking about where he stood when people were putting and the kinds of gamesmanship, as some people see it. That's where Jordan sits now, I think, within a large contingent on tour, where people will say, well, there's no denying that he is uniquely gifted, and you can just see it with your eyes. And there's no denying the game. And at times it's exhilarating. The act wears thin.
Well, and nobody in the act, exactly. As my mom would say when I was a kid, he's a faker fooler. I don't like faker foolers. Don't be a faker fooler. When he won the playoff against Berger, and whatever, Berger, sometimes he can be polarizing a little bit too, from a personality standpoint. But he hits one off the tree left of the tee.
And he hits in out of the sand.
And he shorts it by 20 yards, and he makes it. But then the broadcast is focusing on what a transcendent talent. And I'm like, well, dude, wait a minute. That's the ultimate golf birdie. That's 2 ass-sorry shots, and then you hole out from the bunker to win the tournament.
And they don't draw pictures, buddy.
They don't, exactly.
That's right.
But they don't say that. They say, what an amazing talent. And it's, my man,
well,
you've got to be on balance about these things. Now, he is doing things that nobody other than Jack has done in terms of major wins. At a certain age.
Well,
I got you.
Tiger ends up with 3 by the age of 24. Jordan turns 24 on Thursday. It's not like it's 2 and 3 years apart the way people are talking about it. I mean, they each had 3 at 24. But the way people are talking about it, you'll go, all right, okay, we'll see. It should be fun. What I want is the rivalry to build. I want some of those other guys to step in there. I tell you what was funny is the perennial also ran in these moments that has been tabbed as the guy that's going to climb the ranks and give himself an opportunity to be in the same conversation, is waiting patiently off of 18 for his hero, apparently, to come off the 18th green so he can celebrate with him. And my man doesn't even notice him. Ricky is just sitting there like a fool. Ricky Fowler, my man. And I sometimes wonder, and this is the old school aspect, because I know this is a very modern thing, a lot of, and that's okay to some degree. But it's interesting to me that that group of young players, they like each other a lot. Well, they love the hell out of each other.
Oh, yeah.
Boy, they will jump up and down for one another, won't they?
Yeah.
It's a little uncomfortable.
Just to, I think you're like this too. Patrick Reed, for example, he's an ass.
Yes.
He's a total ass. But you know what? On the weekends, that's exactly who he is in front of the cameras too. And I can appreciate Patrick Reed
a little bit more
because he's the genuine artist on the course.
I know you're an ass.
That he is off the course.
Right, yeah.
I can get behind that. If you stay true to who you are, I've got an easier time. That's why Phil, I've gone back and forth over the years.
And I think over the years, we're going to go back and forth with Spieth. I have a suspicion because I've already done so in his short career. I went from kind of liking the kid to can't stand him to back to kind of liking him again to now can't stand him to
I think we're on parallels at this time.
You and I are on the same
but
page
we were
with
on
this.
we were on the opposite. You liked him after Augusta, I didn't, and then I liked him after the U.S. Open, and you didn't.
No, I was done.
Yeah.
And I'm really done now. I mean, I'm really far this way here.
Same.
I'm done. You know what I'm not done doing, though? I'm not done talking about the weekend that was for Florida State in the world of recruiting. That's right. What them kids doing. Coming up, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
Get your Gravely motor only at TNT Supercenter, your one-stop shop for work or play. 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. TNTSupercenter.com.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Or ones that may need trimming or even removal.
Middle Street Service, we go out on a limb for you.
Give us a call at 894-TREE.
Parker Brothers Roofing says don't play games with your roof. Protect your home and your family. The Parker Brothers tell you the truth. We'll fix your roof, 'cause it's what we do. With quality, integrity, and pride. Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
Customers constantly tell us that they're getting several estimates to compare apples to apples. You ever bite into an apple and find out the inside is rotten? Cheap roofing quotes are just like that rotten apple. Quote looks shiny and delicious because it's the cheapest, right? But you wind up with that rotten apple that leaks or starts to fail immediately. All roofing quotes are not equal. Cheap estimates equal cheap materials, subpar labor, or both. For quality that lasts, call us at 656-8112.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
License number CCC 049350.
It's back. The 14th annual Kingfish Shootout held in Carabel, Florida. August 5th and 6th is almost here. Entry fees are $300 per boat, and donations of $1,000 or more will receive one free boat entry. Fishing hours are Saturday 7 to 7 and Sunday 7 to 4. All boats must check in at the check-in station by 7 p.m. on Saturday and 4 p.m. on Sunday. Boats can be in the water but can't pass the checkout point until 6 a.m. both days. There will be a captain's meeting at Sea Quarters Marina Friday, August 4th at 6 p.m. Mandatory one person per boat must be present for rules. Sea Quarters Marina, 501 St. James Avenue, Highway 98 Carabel, 850-697-8400.
Cornerstone and DeWalt FlexVolt. Power of corded, freedom of cordless. Buy any of the following DeWalt T1 FlexVolt kits for only $2.99. 60-volt max grinder kit with battery pack, 60-volt brushless recip saw kit, or 60-volt circular saw with brake kit. And add one FlexVolt 60-volt battery pack for free. A $149 value and a Cornerstone-only exclusive. Check out the sound of silence. Almost. Power of gas without noise and fumes. Cornerstone Tool and Fastener. Your DeWalt FlexVolt Center. 1110 Stuckey Ave and 3269 Crawfordville Highway. Tallahassee location open Saturdays 8 a.m. to noon.
Have you ever noticed when you report an accident or a claim to an insurance company, they are very eager to get you to one of their approved body shops. They say that they guarantee the shops work, but what they're really saying is the shop works for them, not the customer. So choose a shop that is working for and looking out for you, someone you trust. It's your choice. Lisa's Paint and Body.
License number MP46050.
So your AC is on the fritz? Call Barano Heating and Air Conditioning for help, day or night. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air, 580-4029 or BaranoAC.com. Florida license number CAC 057652.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
The hell were we just doing there? Mixing in matches?
Apparently, Lemon is a 7-minute song. I didn't realize this. So it played for the entire break underneath the commercials at no volume. But yeah. So Jimbo Fisher's successes go on for days and days and days and days.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Here we go. It's a good time for Florida State in recruiting. These camps can be fruitful. The summer has been. Let's check it out with a little bit of what them kids doing. You weren't ready for what them kids doing.
No, we can do that now.
I just caught you. I caught you just looking at something.
Look at freaking Lemon. There we go.
Hello once again, friends. It's time for What Them Kids Doing.
Look at that jibber jabber Jeff. What's that kid bench? How fast does he run?
Hey, who let you in here?
Look at him. I bet he can bench a lot. What them kids doing, Jeff?
What them kids doing are currently committing to Florida State University and quite the haul. What are we up to, 6 now? 3 for 2018 and a strong buzz centered around Justin Fields, quarterback who everybody wants. Now, we won't know that. Well, I'm not even sure when we'll know that, but things are looking better on that front. It's really between us and Georgia on him, and I'll talk about that momentarily. But the Marquez Ezzard kid, 213, 6'1.5", strong hands. Anquan Bolden, Tom Lang, 2018. We got us a 6'1", 6'2" kid, 215, already in high school, big hands. We'll throw you around a little bit. All right, if you can be tough, we need you.
I like the enforcer type. We're sorely needing an enforcer type.
Boom. I'll screw up Israel Mukuamu.
That's correct.
I thought I got it right, but I was hoping that I didn't mispronounce it. A safety, 6'4". Listen, 6'4" a safety is Pat Watkins-esque and rangy. All right, then. I'll take it. That's a wingspan, baby.
Yeah, depending upon the recruiting service, they say 3-star, 4-star, whatever. But you take chances on that size. And in the age of hybrid defenders, that is the perfect size for what we like to do.
I kind of cracked up at this next one, and I don't want to take anything away from the kid. Chaz Neal, he's a defensive end. He's 6'7", 253 pounds. So at 6'7", 253 off the edge, you say, okay, getting the passing lane, for lack of a better term, you use a basketball term, getting the passing lanes, long arms, all that. But when I hear code words, needs development, he's a little raw at this stage of his career. You understand the rankings then, depending on where you're looking, it's 2 or 3-star. It's low, but you understand 2 risks are taken on kids that are 6'7", 250 plus in high school, a body that you build into, right? And you work on a kid, he's a bit of a project. I started looking around, and I reached out to my folks that cover recruiting because obviously I'm not at these camps. I transparency here, I don't go to the opening. I don't go to these various camps to cover recruiting. So I ask people who do, and luckily in this job, I know a lot of them. And in kind of just picking brains, I came across something that I found interesting. I don't know if he is. Somebody can tell me. Maybe somebody can write in even on Twitter here. There's a left tackle at IMG, class 2019, who's considered to be an all-world player. And I believe his name is Evan Neal. Just saying. Chaz Neal and Evan Neal.
Similar names?
Yes.
Could they be related?
Maybe. I don't know. Might be. I just started checking around a little bit, and I thought, oh, okay, things happen. The world of recruiting is interesting.
And at the same time, if you want to bring in a 6'7" guy and Brad Long is going to be his position coach.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice
sounds
risk.
good.
Nice risk to take when perhaps it helps you bring in the other guy that you really desperately want, and maybe this kid turns into something.
I mean, even if this 6'7" kid could give you 3 or 4 games like Lorenzo Featherston. Remember him?
Oh, yeah. Speed off the edge.
There you go.
No regard for responsibility to speak of.
No. Zone read?
Yeah,
No.
forget about it. Straight down the line.
Not his strength.
That's all 2018. Another 2018 was John Huggins, the 6'1 safety. Big hitter out of Daytona. 6'1", 6'2", a kid that will tackle you. And that's the reputation. Tough. Okay, good. Like it. Love guys that'll come up and stick you. 2019 studs, Akeem Dent. You guys all know him in the world of recruiting. 5-star kid, number 1 cornerback in the country. 5'11", 175. Silky smooth. Everything you want about a guy who's described as the number 1 corner in the country. If you hold that recruit, and it's a long time to hold somebody, 2019, but he's a stud. He's the guy that everybody wants at that position, so you get another guy like that. And then you get a wide receiver in Jalen Curry out of Texas, 6'2", 200 pounds, explosive kid. And another kid that, a 4-star kid I think I read, is a kid that a lot of people feel like by the time he gets here is an all-world player too. So those are all good things to go with, again, the continued positive momentum in Justin Fields. Again, he's the quarterback. If you don't know, 6'3", 225. Everybody wants him. His mother wants him to go to Georgia. His dad's kind of handling the recruiting, though. And there's a real positive vibe centered around Tallahassee. There was a time where Auburn thought certainly that they were in the mix. Florida, basically, by getting their quarterback this weekend out of the mix, they got Matt Corral. We'll talk about him momentarily. But the Justin Fields kid is the can't-miss, gotta-have guy, and it's down to us in Georgia, if you believe the experts. He's elite. He's talented. He's bright. Good baseball player. He's a lot of things. So he's also a guy that most people believe if Florida State is to get him, he is by far and away the most talented quarterback we've brought in since Jameis Winston.
He's elite. He's bright. He's a baseball player. Please, no,
we don't want any of
Let's
that.
not put this kid on a pedestal. He can't be anointed the savior before he shows up on campus.
He kind of is.
Because maybe we don't need saving this season. I know that recruiting's about looking ahead, but maybe we'll be just fine this year. Either way, I see the excitement. You got a little twinkle in your eye.
Well, those were good conversations over the last 24 hours that I've had in talking with people that pay attention and don't steer me wrong. These are good conversations. These aren't the, we'll see. You know, that guy's, he's all right. No, they're all, these are the guys you want to be taking. Yep, good call. This is a good weekend for Florida State. A lot of code words like they did good, did good, you know.
Well, it's been a good month, too.
Yes, it has.
They've surged up the rankings for whatever that's worth. But, I mean, it's just by default of getting commits, good quality commits. They didn't have many heading into the Jimbo Fisher camp.
People were getting nervous.
Yes.
You know, one thing I'll say, when you get a haul like Florida State just did over the weekend, and the word is that you're getting kids that you need. They're not kids that you're just kind of taking here and settling with. These are studs. These are kids that are going to be difference makers for your class. Even a guy who's not a recruitnik, a guy who's not delving into this topic on a daily basis anyhow on the show, you have to make note of that because it is the lifeblood of a program and it is a big deal. And we know that Jimbo Fisher, I think the tendency here is this, and this is partly my problem. Admittedly, as a host, it's a weakness. I make certain assumptions about the strengths of my head coach, and they're based on the fact that I've seen him time and again cobble together great class after great class after great class, even in years in which maybe they start slow, maybe they're not on pace, maybe we lose out on a guy that everybody in this fan base thought we had to have. I've gotten to where I trust him so much. You guys know when I'm critical of areas of Jimbo's, whether it's game play calling, whether it's assistance, whatever it could be. Well, I also laud him in some other areas, and one of them is in recruiting because I'm pretty much of the mindset that I can sit back and hardly pay attention knowing damn well that Florida State's going to have a perennial top 5 class, top 10 class. That's the kind of equity he's built up and the consistency he's shown in the world of recruiting. He's really good at it. He likes it. Kids love the way that he recruits. He's honest, straightforward. He'll give kids an opportunity to win the job right away, but he'll promise nothing. And obviously he develops kids. So I always assume, therefore, I tend to overlook sometimes on air. But when you get a group like this come through and there's a kid out there like Justin Fields, it is exciting to pay attention to it and get into it and kind of tell people about it.
Well, and the momentum, too. You know, we were wondering, obviously, from a wins and loss standpoint, these last two seasons were not up to the standard anywhere close to 2013 and 2014. And we're all looking around, and this has been something we've talked about off the air, on the air some as well, in the last few months. It's, okay, when's this next push? When's this next push up the rankings and
run at a national title, right?
Right, run a national title, run at the Atlantic Division crown, which is a de facto path to the national title.
Take back the division, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you look at the combination of some of the stars we've just brought in this year with Cam Akers and obviously Kane Doe and Marvin Wilson. And, I mean, you go
Start
up
with
and
those
down.
three right there, yeah.
I mean, even people love some of the project type or late developing recruits like Terry, the wide receiver. I mean, there are a lot of players that in this class can be difference makers by the time we get to next season. Then you combine that with the momentum of this year and what looks to be a stunning class in 2019. Yeah, you're seeing that we are fortifying as much as we possibly can for sustaining a run under Jimbo Fisher for the next 4 to 5 seasons, where, again, it seemed like when we were projecting 5 years out, the last couple of falls, we were talking, well, is Jimbo going to be here? Is he going to be at LSU? What's the situation going to be? The cupboard is being restocked and then some. So not only are we excited about kicking off with Alabama and whatever it is, 40 whatever days, which is freaking awesome, and making a run at this thing this year, it looks like for years to come we're set up into 2020, given the way they're stocking the cupboard right now.
I'm ready for a good, quality quarterback battle. And if you bring in Justin Fields, he's allegedly of the talent that could command the opportunity to win the job, maybe right away. Now, that's high praise from people talking about him. He wouldn't, in my opinion, because Francois will be a junior, a redshirt junior at that. It would be awfully difficult. But we do know that if you're elite and you're smart and you come in and you got the physical tools and the talent, you can make headway in a hurry.
You can. Well, and he has the size, too, that Jameis didn't have necessarily in his redshirt freshman season.
In terms of the weight?
Yes.
Yeah, he's 220, yeah.
I look at the 225 and I say, all right, by the time he's ready to go for his true freshman season, should he even commit and sign here in the first place, put that caveat out there, he'll be in the low to mid 230s.
He's a big dude.
That can take the beating of a season, absolutely.
The kid that the University of Florida got, we should touch on this. They've got a quarterback, and I did do my due diligence with this too. I've been talking about it for a while. And I said even last week at one point, look, Florida's been down and it's been fun, and we've had a lot of fun at their expense, and it's been great to watch Florida State continue to kick them in the teeth, and hopefully that continues for some time to come. But I also note, because it's Florida, they're not going to be down forever. They've got the facilities, they've got the alumni, they got the money, they care. It takes a quarterback. They haven't had a quarterback. I don't think Felipe Franks is the kid. They haven't had a guy. And the guy they did have, or maybe they had, that looked like it was going to work out, he ends up getting popped for steroids or whatever it was. And I think they made a mistake in kicking him out. I wouldn't have, but they did. And that sent him back a ways. And when you don't have a quarterback, it's hard to win. It's hard to win big games. It's hard to win consistently. Certainly it's hard to find any consistency with your offense, and Florida has struggled in that realm. But we knew it was a matter of time before they'd get one. And they get a kid, Matt Corral, comes out of California. Now, admittedly,
it's a California recruit.
It's a California recruit. And I immediately go, all right, well, have fun with that.
Not going to USC, are you, son?
It's tough when kids come out of California, especially to the Southeast. It just seems like I can name way too many stories where that just didn't pan out for whatever reason. Seems to be a cultural divide to some degree. People just don't see eye to eye, view the world the same way. That makes sense. Regionality's a thing, right? I don't know. Maybe it'll all work out. Maybe it'll work out swimmingly, because there are plenty of examples where it also does. But I'm always suspect when that's the case. Now, if you put on the tape and you watch the kid, he makes the throws. He can make the throws. He's 6'2", strong arm, and he makes plays. He's an athlete. It's interesting. He got into a fight with Wayne Gretzky's kid, which caused a problem. Yeah. And
Paulina?
He had to change schools, and so, but he's a 5-star kid, got the good stuff. So when you watch him, I immediately went and watched him. When he committed, I went up, well, all right, let's see if this guy's another fraud that they're bringing in. And then I have to say, duly impressed. So I think he can play.
Okay, well, here's a follow-up question, though, and it's just a grand question that we'll learn as we go. What's their defense going to be like by the time this kid is a sophomore or a junior and ready to perform at the highest level, assuming that
they have a quarterback now, he could be ready to play right away.
I get that, but what I'm saying is, the Muschamp factory, that's been closed down. A lot of products were still on the assembly line, and they were cranking out, but they were ready-made. Now, what kind of recruiting have they done the last couple of years, and what kind of depth are they going to show on defense? I can't imagine that they're going to be a top 10, top 15 defense every single year until this kid is ready to go. They haven't recruited to that end. Maybe I could be wrong, but we'll learn together.
Well, I think if I'm a Florida fan, all I'll say about that to conclude the segment is that I think they're good enough to be, at the very least, pretty decent on defense. What they've been is elite on defense. You'll take a step back on the defensive side of the football when you lose that level of talent that Muschamp obviously brought in. But if you're at least average on defense, you can compete, especially in the sorry-ass East. And the SEC, which doesn't have great quarterback play, they've been woeful on offense. So if you tell me, hey, listen, we may descend here down the ladder, the rankings defensively, just a little bit, while we're on the verge, we're on the cusp of finally bringing in a guy that can move the damn football, I'm taking the trade-off, at least for now, especially since my coach is an offensive-minded coach.
Okay, since we're up high on the mountaintop in the state right now, and we're looking down, reading our paper, if those things still exist, whose 5-year outlook worries you more as you sip your coffee and you're reading the paper about the developments down at the Valley between Miami and Florida? Whose developments in the recruiting game and from a coaching standpoint?
You know what I do think? I think we're on the cusp of something interesting, something really good. It's going to maybe harken back to a time where all three were really good. Facility and the overall recruiting prowess and money and all that, I would tell you, I'm always going to be more concerned, at least until Miami thoroughly invests in facilities across the board and sustains a level of success that we haven't seen in a long time. I'm always going to be more concerned with Florida. But I also know that they're at a make-or-break time with McElwain in a way. I know that sounds odd for a guy that's won the Eastern Division 2 years in a row, and Florida fans will point it out. I mean, Florida fans will argue amongst each other whether McElwain's the guy, but don't let us do it. As soon as we start doing it, we're talking about the younger brother, and they don't like it, and, hey, he's won the division twice. Get the hell off of him. He's winning games. But they are secretly having the conversation, is this the guy? Do we have the guy?
I wish we were in the SEC East these last 5 years.
Would have run away from it.
Lord,
yeah.
Been like the ACC in the 90s.
Yeah, but the point would be that, they've had that conversation. They've kind of looked at him with a John Desai and said, all right, my man, thanks for the East crowns. We're going to need you to show me that you can move the football here. I mean, that's your side. If your head coach, and this is true anywhere, it's like the most damning thing for Charlie Strong at Texas was that he was a defensive coach and they couldn't get stops ever. Everybody understood that he was going to have to come in and turn it around, and to some degree the cupboard was bare, and you got to run off the bad apples. And people in Texas were like, "Oh, all right, okay, we'll wait." I'm removing the racist. I'm talking about just people who are willing to be honest and say, "Okay, we'll give you a little bit of time." When you're steady having 40+ points dropped on you, and your guy's a defensive head coach, we're going to expedite that situation getting ugly pretty quick. And I think that's where Florida fans have probably been thinking, you're an offensive guy, huh?
You're losing to Kansas, too, if you're Charlie Strong.
Well, that was the death knell. That was the end of that.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You can tell a lot about a tractor by its warranty. That's why Mahindra makes the toughest tractors on earth. With steel, not plastic. Backed by the industry's best limited powertrain warranty, period. Not 5 years, not 6 years, but a full 7 years on select models. No wonder the other guys are green with envy.
No money down, 0% interest, and no payments until July. Available at TNT Supercenter.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Huh? Where?
Banditos Burritos, baby.
The Ford Summer Sales Event is in full swing.
Is your truck going to be able to handle all these pavers for the patio?
No problem. The F-150 has got a high-strength military-grade aluminum alloy body.
Oh. With best-in-class payload, the F-150 can handle the work you need it to.
Remember when I had a high-strength military-grade body?
I don't, actually.
It's always a good time.
Take on summer right with Ford, America's best-selling brand, during the Ford Summer Sales Event. Hurry and get our hottest offers during the Ford Summer Sales Event, like 0% financing for 60 months on select Ford F-150s. Plus, get an additional $1,000 on top of your trade-in. Offer ends July 31st. Best selling based on 2016 sales when properly equipped. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds. GVWR based on Ford segmentation. Not all buyers qualify for Ford credit financing. 60 months at $1,667 per month for $1,000 finance regardless of down payment. Trade assist cash requires trade-in of 95 or newer vehicle or lease terminated 30 days prior to or 90 days after new retail delivery. Not available on Raptor. See dealer or go to buyfordnow.com for complete details. Take new retail delivery from dealer stock by July 31st, 2017.
Parker Brothers Roofing says don't play games with your roof. Protect your home and your family. The Parker Brothers tell you the truth. We'll fix your roof, 'cause it's what we do. With quality, integrity, and pride. Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
Hey, I'm Travis with Parker Brothers Roofing. Some roofers are like a bad boyfriend. They make lots of promises, but in reality, they're just cheap. They don't own up to their mistakes, and they leave you with a lot of regret. Parker Brothers Roofing stands behind every installation, and if a mistake is made, we own it and fix it. Our customers never have to worry about being left behind for the next job. At Parker Brothers, it's quality that builds our quantity. Call us at 656-8112.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
License number CCC 049350.
You know why we love the country music community? Their passion for hometowns. Because at Country Inns and Suites, at home is how we want every guest to feel. That's why we offer complimentary comforts, such as hot breakfast every morning, a Wi-Fi connection, and coffee around the clock. Plus, our spacious rooms are the perfect place to relax and unwind. Our home is always open to you and your family. Book your next stay at countryinns.com.
Power Service is made just for diesels. Does your diesel run like it did when you first got it? You'd be surprised at the power you've lost over the miles. Diesel Clean plus cetane boost from Power Service restores lost power and fuel economy, cleans injectors, and smooths rough-running engines. And now buy 2 80-ounce bottles of Diesel Clean and get $10 back. That's right, $10. Learn more at PowerServiceRebate.com. PowerServiceRebate.com.
Power Service. Made just for diesels.
Offer good at participating retailers only.
All right. Could Louis Anderson, the comedian?
Louis Anderson.
Yeah, I like good old fat Louis.
He was awesome. He is awesome.
Yeah, he's not dead. Louis is fine.
No,
He's
John
actually
Candy.
in a show. Yeah, John Candy's been dead for years.
Man, John Candy was great.
He was great. I think of Louis Anderson as a guy that could never win a fight against anything or anybody. Super sweet, jolly guy, but doesn't look like he has any kind of... He has no squabbles.
I bet he could beat John Panette in a fight.
Could he beat a boar? A wild boar?
A wild boar?
Yeah, not a tame one. Could he beat a boar?
No.
It would. That'd be a quick fight.
That would be, well...
Boars, I think they eat you, too, afterwards.
Oh, they'll eat you.
They eat you.
Everything.
That's the best thing about a boar.
That's why you can never trust people that have pigs, man.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Get your weekend started right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Saturdays at 6 a.m. with Fishing Florida Radio. Listen to the three amigos, Boudreaux, Steve Chapman, and Captain Mike Ortega as they catch you up to speed on what's new and biting in the North Florida region. Big-time guests, celebrities, interviews, and 3 hours of the fishing info you need. Fishing Florida Radio is brought to you by Sea Quarters Marina off Highway 98 in Carabel. Sea Quarters Marina, your full-service marina, and presented by Hobbit American Grill, locally owned and operated since 1978.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Man Cave Monday, brought to you by Experamac of Tallahassee. Experamac, Tallahassee's trusted tech source for Apple. Stopping at 346 South Magnolia Drive or call at 765-2012 today.
That is nuts. The 13th. I keep coming back to it. I just saw during the break a highlight again. So, for those that missed it and wondered what we were prattling on about in that opening segment with Jordan Spieth on the 13th hole at the British Open en route to what really saved his round, even with a bogey, he took a penalty drop for an unplayable lie. He got relief, free relief, which is annoying, from a temporary immovable object, and then played a shot from the driving range back onto the course and then made the putt for bogey. I mean, if you just lay all that out there in short order, that's what happened. It is remarkable. It took 30 minutes, but it's remarkable. And in the area where I'll give him credit, if it sounded like I was being overly harsh because he's annoying, to have the wherewithal, to know the rules and your options given the scenario, to not panic, but to know, all right, look, I don't care. I know that I can ask a rules official here a variety of questions that have to do with this next shot I'm going to hit. And, I'm trying to win the British Open. You're not going to rush me on this. I'm pretty sure that I can take this all the way back there another 100 yards if I want to, instead of re-teeing. And if that gives me the best angle and the best shot, I'm damn sure going to find out if I can do that and if it's within the rules, because he knew those rules. And in some cases, he was telling the officials, not that they would have not come to that conclusion, but he was ahead of the curve. He was saying, don't I get free relief here? Can I go here? And because that's an immovable object, then now don't we go to the arc over here? And that guy was basically, the rules official was saying yes, all on the way. He had the presence of mind and the wherewithal at a major, under the duress of potentially totally collapsing, to know all of those things. And I do think that's impressive.
Yeah, I agree. I think necessity being the mother of invention there.
But I don't know that everybody would have figured all of that out.
Sure. I think most
would
have taken
would re-teed.
Or they would have taken an unplayable and hit from where they were.
Right.
And not even thought about the,
going back. Yeah.
What was it? Was it the sky cam? Is that what it was?
No.
That was the obstruction?
The Titleist truck there was a huge Titleist truck is the initial line that then you have to move over, and then there was another. Yeah.
No, I was just, the one thing that I was a little bit unclear on, and the NBC broadcast, unfortunately for them, their RNA expert was a stuttering wonder in that moment because he didn't know what the hell was going on.
Isn't there amount of time that you have to hit your next shot within is what I asked you, and you didn't know, and I didn't know, and nobody knew.
Well, the thing is, usually the RNA and USGA, and this is getting way in the weeds, I apologize in advance. PGA has its own rules, and then the USGA and RNA typically have their own rules, and they're kind of together. They were the ones who were more stingy on anchoring the putter to your belly or your sternum. So typically those rules are the same, but I didn't know that if you could drop the ball from an unplayable, that you could take a line of sight not on where your drive was coming from. You know what I mean? Like typically,
yeah, right.
My understanding of the rules
is it could just be straight back.
It's the line of the trajectory of your shot.
Right.
So to me, when he's drawing up this other angle and he's going out on the driving range, I'm thinking, well, what kind of rule is this? This is
just drop anywhere.
I'll just drop anywhere I want. On the line of what? That's where I was getting confused.
Well, usually it's easy to join 2 points, but in this case, like they'll have a rules official join 2 points. and say you can drop here, but the problem was there was an obstruction. So then he gets something that's really not in that line. This is the break that he gets that kind of angers a lot of people in addition to the 30 minutes, but that's not his fault. It's not his fault. It's just annoying. But because something was there, then he's allowed to go over here, which is a flat-ass lie on the practice fairway. Well, that's nice.
Yeah. Again, it feels like he's not, but it feels like he's cheating his way out of a stroke because
yes,
it feels like it should be an out-of-bounds read. If you're going to miss the fairway by that much, the fact that you're hitting 3 from a reachable position.
It's against the spirit of the rules.
Correct.
It feels like it is dead set against the spirit of the rules. And oh, by the way, this isn't just you and I who are inclined not to want to see that kid necessarily rewarded for that kind of thing. This is a question that a lot of PGA players and others who cover asked on social media and the like while it was going on. Is really, okay, it may be within the rules, but we need to check on these rules. Because this is a spirit. This is against the spirit of what they're trying to do here.
Well, and also it's against the spirit of when they were warned to speed up their play.
Well, he's already a terribly slow player. That's another annoying aspect.
But what I don't what I'd love to know, and they don't document this, and maybe they should, just so the questions are easier to answer in the post round.
Mm-hmm.
But how long before he officially got his ruling, and then he took the shot? You know, what's the amount of time between A, B, and C? Did it take 24 minutes to get the ruling?
I think it did. I think in fairness, so it takes like 5 minutes to find your ball. So you find your ball over there. You get like 5 minutes.
It's basically 10, so because you can walk there, then the clock starts.
Right.
And then some patron finds it because he.
Well, in this case, 7,000 patrons found it. They all went sprinting over there.
Yeah.
Did you see the guy? So they
halt! That
was,
wasn't even it. That it's on the other side.
Yeah,
Somebody
he
found
was
it.
Sprinting. That fatty was really excited about his volunteer role. But they found the ball, but that took some time. That took 5 to 10 minutes. And so you have that time, and that's rare. You don't see balls so far offline that A, aren't either automatically deemed out of bounds, re-tee, let's roll, or B, just not found and we move on. I mean, that's rare to hit a ball that poorly and still find it. So they do that. But then from there, he gets to bring over a rules official, and however long it takes for that rules official to get there, then they got to ask him, hey, what are my options here? I'm going to take a penalty stroke and unplayable lie, but where can I go now? It's my understanding that I can go anywhere along this line, and then that guy has to say yes or no, and then he did. Well, once he does that and says, yeah, you can go, because he asked him, he said, is the driving range in play? And the guy said yes. Well, at that point, now you got to walk your ass all the way. That's
the one thing I was a little bit mad about is that Kuchar missed the putt. If you've ever had a chance to look at a putt for any amount Jesus, Matt.
But it wasn't a 5-footer. I mean,
no, but he was kneeled in front of the green. I'm like, listen, man, if you want to take a nap, that's fine, but you might want to.
I think you.
Maybe everybody's looking this way. Since Jordan's doing this, maybe you might want to roll a practice ball at the cup and see what's going on.
Well, we're going to be loosey-goosey with the rules around here. I'm going to have my caddy putt this other one over here and just see what we got. Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
Get your Gravely motor only at TNT Supercenter, your one-stop shop for work or play. 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. TNTSupercenter.com.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin, Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
60-volt brushless recip saw kit or 60-volt circular saw with brake kit, and add one FlexVolt 60-volt battery pack for free. A $149 value and a Cornerstone only exclusive. Check out the sound of silence. Almost. Power of gas without noise and fumes. Cornerstone Tool and Fastener, your DeWalt FlexVolt Center. 1110 Stuckey Ave and 3269 Crawfordville Highway. Tallahassee location open Saturdays, 8 a.m. to noon.
You know why we love the country music community? Their passion for hometowns. Because at Country Inns and Suites, at home is how we want every guest to feel. That's why we offer complimentary comforts, such as hot breakfast every morning, a Wi-Fi connection, and coffee around the clock. Plus, our spacious rooms are the perfect place to relax and unwind. Our home is always open to you and your family. Book your next stay at countryinns.com.
Power Service is made just for diesels. Does your diesel run like it did when you first got it? You'd be surprised at the power you've lost over the miles. Diesel Clean plus Cetane Boost from Power Service restores lost power and fuel economy, cleans injectors, and smooths rough-running engines. And now buy 2 80-ounce bottles of Diesel Clean and get $10 back. That's right, $10. Learn more at PowerServiceRebate.com. PowerServiceRebate.com.
Power Service. Made just for diesels.
Offer good at participating retailers only.
Out on the golf course, there are the obvious hazards. There's the pond, the bunker, the rough, the even rougher.
Yeah, put me down for an 8.
The giant maples. The row of houses out of bounds on the right. The angry flock of geese who've surrounded your ball. Even the occasional groundskeeper you had no clue was there. But if you think you found every possible hazard out there, think again. The hazard you missed could actually be a killer. It's the spot on your skin, the one that could be skin cancer. Fact is, if you're a man over 50, you're in a group most likely to develop skin cancer, including melanoma, the kind that kills 1 person every hour. 1 in 5 Americans is likely to develop a form of skin cancer during their lifetime. That's why your best shot is to check for a spot. It's easy. Follow through and check your skin. It could be the save of a lifetime. Go to spotskincancer.org to find out how. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan. Once again, all of you with stellar credit ratings, congratulations. And this message is not for you. All year I've been talking about our New For You program to assist good people with dings in their credit. And just last week, a friend of mine came into my office worried about his own credit rating. But thanks to our New For You program, you guessed it, he drove away in a brand new Nissan Altima. We are proud of the fact that we have helped hundreds of people that were previously limited shopping little used car lots where they overpaid, got huge finance charges, and had very few choices on cars to purchase. Some of those lots may actually hurt your credit more than they could ever help. So remember, credit score under 600? Come on in. Recent bankruptcy? Come on in. Recently divorced? Come on in. Think you have a financial problem we've never heard of? Come on in to Kraft Nissan. And come see the one dealer in Tallahassee that can really help you out. Come see the cars that everyone wants at the hottest dealer in town, Kraft Nissan. And remember, if you don't see the Kraft tag on your car, you paid too much, way too much. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco, or visit us on the web at craftnissan.com.
This Day in Sports, brought to you by Superlube, 19 Tallahassee area locations. Quick, convenient, no appointment necessary. Get your history lesson weekdays at 5:30 during the Jeff Cameron Show, right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Broadcasting live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
This is Adrienne Lawrence with some breaking news out of L.A. Fox Sports reports that Dodgers ace and 3-time Cy Young Award winner Clayton Kershaw will miss 4 to 6 weeks. That is an early prognosis, though, as the team has yet to release their official amount of time that he'll be out. Kershaw exited the game last night against the Braves with lower back tightness, and the Dodgers have been doing well with him this season. They've been 19-2 when Kershaw starts. To the NL Central, the Cubs activated righty Kyle Hendricks off the 10-day DL to make his start today. Chicago opens a 4-game series against the White Sox. To the NFL, Eagles coach Doug Peterson said that wideout Jordan Matthews could be limited in the early stages of training camp, as well as he continues to deal with knee tendonitis. Sticking with the Eagles, linebacker Jordan Hicks underwent a minor procedure to repair a broken bone in his hand. He'll be limited for the start of training camp. Into the Raceway, Dale Earnhardt Jr., who's retiring from NASCAR Cup racing after the season, is now joining NBC Universal's broadcast team in 2018 on a multi-year deal.
Trades are scary. When a player leaves your team, you can't like them anymore. You can't even wear their jersey. Except here, we won't judge, but others might. Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Man Cave Monday, brought to you by Experimag of Tallahassee. Experimag, Tallahassee's trusted tech source for Apple. Stopping at 346 South Magnolia Drive or call at 765-2012 today.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Hope all is well with you. Thanks for tuning to it. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free. Always don't miss anything. If you do miss something, hey, don't worry about it. We got you. All 3 hours posted every day. Upon the conclusion of the program, we throw it up both on iTunes and in our own audio vault. It's all brought to you with limited commercial interruption thanks to our great podcast sponsor, CarltonDean.com. If you want to learn how to make money in commercial real estate, including off-market deals, income-producing properties, go to CarltonDean.com. Email the show if you like. It's jcs@979espnradio.com. Find me on Twitter at JCameronShow. WTSM app works for your mobile devices. We're on YouTube, ESPN Tallahassee on YouTube. Thanks for watching. For those of you that are, or those that go back and catch up via the YouTube feed. Fun to do. It was a busy weekend, obviously. You had the conclusion to the British Open we talked about last hour with Jordan Spieth, now winning his third major, one away before the age of 24 of having a career Grand Slam. You know, by the way, with that win, he's already in. Well, he will be. It's a guarantee. There is no getting around it. The Golf Hall of Fame. Hell of a thing to be 23 in the Golf Hall of Fame.
I feel like I've done things in my life, but I'm 30 years old, and that dude has 7 more years to live the amount of life that I've lived, and he is already a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
And better at what he does than I'll be at anything I ever do.
Well, that's an unfair comparison, my friend. It's, I don't think Jordan Spieth would be a very good producer.
Oh, really?
No.
No?
No, I don't think so. No, he doesn't have what it takes.
Yeah, but am I in the top, 20 of producers of all time in radio history?
Well,
no.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know all those guys. You're my guy, buddy. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I'm not worried about all that. Hey, listen, he's got a unique skill. Some people have skills that are fairly commonplace. Being a producer is not one of them, but some people do. Most people have skills that are, in fact, very commonplace, and we're not all that unique. None of us. He happens to have a skill that very few people, at least at that level, can perform at, and it's remarkable. And I hope it's not lost on him or anybody else that's in a position like that. And he's worked hard, and he deserves credit, but it's amazing.
Well, I did mirror, his drive on 13 with when Lemon was playing with Van Halen.
That's
at the
true.
Same
You
time.
did.
So
Yeah,
I got
simultaneous.
that done.
He would never get that done.
But then the recovery in that segment was much like the near ace on 14, which to me is the most impressive shot of the entire
yeah, because he's
weekend.
just gone through the whole damn thing, and then that.
It's a 6-iron too, so that's not a gimme.
It just pisses me off. I'm learning, and I hate to do this because it's unfair to him, and it's unfair to Tiger, and it's unfair to Jack, and anybody else that we do this with. And boy, writers do this, and I'm not a big fan of it. We always want to compare and contrast some of the all-time greats whose careers are over with another person whose career has just begun. It's not fair to that kid, and it's not right to do for the person that's in the Golf Hall of Fame and is a legend, cemented with 70-plus wins on tour and everything else. But when people get mad at the kind of greatness you see performed on Sunday and the kind of improbable shots that guys pull off, or putts, in particular putts, it does remind you of Tiger. It reminds you where people would say, man, that guy if you were a fan, it's why you loved him. It's why you couldn't wait to see him. It's why he was polarizing, why everybody tuned in on a Sunday if he was in contention. And that's true. That's going to be true of Jordan Spieth because he's that way as well. If you hated him, you tuned in as well for that very thing to root against him. And I don't know where Spieth's personality is going to take him in 2 and 3 years. We'll have more a definitive feel for whether or not we are fans of him again or dislike him more or somewhere in between. But I do think he's that kind of guy because he gets in this weird zone and his reactions are strange. They're ultra competitive. And a lot of your best competitors over the years, we've talked about it on the show, whether it was Jerry Rice on the gridiron or whether, you know, in this case, Jordan Spieth, but we've talked about Tiger Woods in golf, and we've talked about it in every sport, just about every sport. If you're Michael Jordan on the basketball court, if you're the best or transcendently good, one of the best of all time, you're likely a little bit off. There's something a little wrong with you. You've done, and you've been willing to sacrifice in a way that balanced people are not, and therefore you're kind of tough to be around. Either you're too competitive, you don't have enough interests that are varied to hold a conversation, you view the world in a quirky way, whatever it might be. But it usually, you can't hide that very easily. And there are exceptions. Jack seems to be an exception. There have been some, but not usually. And he's already going down that path where you're kind of like, okay, that's a weird reaction to that shot. That's a strange way to be after an amazing moment or success or failure for that matter. And I think that's what we're going to see with him, which is good for golf. There is no getting around that.
There's one putt he makes when they're playing a month ago. This is, again, the one that he beats Daniel Berger in the playoff. And I think half of it is for show, I think, and half of it is genuine. He is walking towards the putt because this is what he does when he misses a putt. He starts walking after it right away, which is just annoying.
Yes.
But it goes in, you know, and he's stunned. I think he plays it up for the crowd, but I think that's an indicator of how in his own world he is.
He didn't hit it the way he wanted to hit it.
Correct.
So it wasn't the path. It was that he didn't hit it perfectly.
Right. And it might have been a misread. And so he mishit it. Let's say he pulls it a little bit, but the misread was such that if he pulls the ball, it's going to go in the hole.
Right.
But I think he's so lost in his own world that's why you see so, like, really egregious, weird moments. When he makes the eagle putt and he points at his caddy to go get the ball, okay.
Yeah. No. And
that's not the typical.
And he says afterwards, I was lost in my own little world.
Did he?
Yeah, he admitted.
I didn't even listen. I did not listen to one thing he said afterwards, so I'm not trying to steal anything.
No, he
here.
completely admitted that he had lost it. He's like, I don't know what I was doing there. I just was in my own little thing.
I think
I believe that's true.
That's where he goes. He goes in this little place, and then that allows him to hit the shots that he's hitting when it seems like, you know, the whole world is crumbling around him.
It's a hyper focus that very few people can reach. And Tiger would do it to save par, sometimes on number 9 in round 2 from 15 feet.
Well, and I think that's the interesting thing about his journey over the weekend. If you're watching all 4 rounds, and I realize I sound like Rinaldi there saying his journey this weekend at the Open. But he didn't play that great Thursday and Friday. He got a couple of breaks go his way, and he scored when he had an opportunity to score. And there are a couple of fluke moments, a couple of chip-ins or long putts that had no business going in, but they did go in. So he's at the top of the leaderboard, and he's not playing his best golf, not even close. Then he plays Saturday, and that round, I'm telling you.
Well, it was perfection. I watched it as well, yes.
Fairways, greens, putts.
He was great.
He was a machine. I mean, it was something to behold what he did on Saturday. Yesterday was closer to Thursday or Friday. And the greatness of a player like this is you play one good round in a weekend and you beat the field and you win a major. That's where the talent is scary, is that he really isn't even pushing for 4 rounds the upper level of his game.
It's weird. And what's weird is the bizarre play that happens on 13, like meaning like the play, like you're watching theater. It all plays out. And then we go to 14, you talk about it. It's the 6-iron from 200 yards that almost goes in. It's an eagle putt from 50 feet, a birdie putt from 30 feet, another birdie putt from 7 feet, and a tap-in par. And he's just made a tournament in which he's down a stroke going to 14, a runaway, and he does it, and he makes it look so easy. And there is this hyper-focus. Those putts are center cut. The putt from 50 feet, it's like he knew he was going to make that. It's bizarre.
Well, and this is what Rory possesses too, and I know that this is, you were talking about this in the first hour.
I sure hope we get it at Quail Hollow.
How soon we forget that Rory was doing all of these things. all of these things.
Yeah, he's got 4 majors.
4. He's got more than Jordan does.
Yeah.
And it feels like he has 2, and Jordan has 7 the way they're covered right now.
We are, 3 years removed? 2.5 years removed?
Granted, I'm just saying that we saw a run like this in a short period of time where you're willing to say, oh, okay, so this guy, he's ticketed for 15. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we fall into that trap. But the things that are similar between what Rory has recently done and what Jordan is doing, and I think those are the 2 better comparisons than going back to Tiger or something like that, is that they're not playing that well. I can remember Rory playing out at Sawgrass, and he doesn't play all that well at all. And then on Sunday, he's 2 shots back, and he finishes T4. And I'm like, well, I watched his entire weekend, and I was frustrated watching him all weekend long.
Speaks to the talent, yeah.
But he's so good that when he plays subpar at the top of his power, at the height of his power, he's still going to finish in the top 5.
Tiger would do that all the time.
Right.
And it drove people nuts. You would watch a guy, because now here's one thing I will say that is different so far, and it will be interesting. Let's move on from golf for a second. One thing I'll say is that when Tiger is, especially early in his career, there are moments where he's boat racing the field by 13 and 15 strokes. It's 10, it's 12. It's nobody's on the same planet. Jordan's not quite doing that. We're not seeing that. We see little patches, these little moments, heightened focus and all that. But when Tiger was transcending the sport, there were several tournaments early in his career where you're going, he's not playing the same game.
Right. If Jordan played on Saturday, like he did on Saturday for 3 rounds, then he'd be doing the same thing. That's what would
happen, yeah.
But I will, one footnote to bring it home here is that Brooks Koepka did not play well all weekend
for
long.
him, and he's right there in the top 6.
Exactly. And I think that's something that's really encouraging for Florida State fans is, I mean, I watch as much as the TV would allow me to watch.
He just couldn't make putts.
He couldn't make putts on Friday. It really betrayed him, his putter did. But he's scrambling around the course the entire weekend. It has to be a mentally exhausting brand of golf, yet he's tough enough to still be on the first page of the leaderboard afterwards, but he didn't have anywhere close any of the 4 days to the kind of stuff he typically has.
Yeah, and I think that stems, again, from playing over there and understanding the kind of mental toughness and fortitude you have to get around there when you don't have your game. When weather, when it's inclement and all that. Yeah,
that's a good sign that dude is really talented, too.
Really locked in and a smart guy, and on the golf course kind of accepts things as they come, which can be very difficult to do. And I think over there, more than anything, you learn that with those players. You'll hear all of them say the willingness to accept things that are completely out of your control and not have it affect you on the next shot, not have it affect you on the next hole or the hole after that. All right, so this deserves repeating, but we'll touch on it when we come back. Florida State had a great week in recruiting, and I want to get to that again. I touched on it last hour, but for those hopping in the car who missed it, it's not every day that you can say you've nabbed 6 high-level players, and Florida State did, 4 of which I think are 2018, 2 of which 2019. It's worth mentioning. We'll do so next. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You can tell a lot about a tractor by its warranty. That's why Mahindra makes the toughest tractors on earth. With steel, not plastic. Backed by the industry's best limited powertrain warranty, period. Not 5 years, not 6 years, but a full 7 years on select models. No wonder the other guys are green with envy.
No money down, 0% interest, and no payments until July. Available at TNT Supercenter.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
The Ford Summer Sales Event. Hurry and get our hottest offers during the Ford Summer Sales Event, like 0% financing for 60 months on select Ford F-150s. Plus, get an additional $1,000 on top of your trade-in. Offer ends July 31st. Best selling based on 2016 sales when properly equipped. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds. GVWR based on Ford segmentation. Not all buyers qualify for Ford credit financing. 60 months at $1,667 per month for $1,000 finance regardless of down payment. Trade assist cash requires trade-in of 95 or newer vehicle or lease terminated 30 days prior to or 90 days after new retail delivery. Not available on Raptor. See dealer or go to buyfordnow.com for complete details. Take new retail delivery from dealer stock by July 31st, 2017.
The 14th annual Kingfish Shootout is right around the corner, August 5th and 6th. With total payouts equaling over $20,000, Kingfish prizes range from 1st through 10th place, and Spanish mackerel prizes range from 1st through 3rd place. All profits go to the Leukemia Research Foundation. More than $865,000 has been donated in the past 13 years. If interested, go to the website and click Tournaments and follow the rules. You can register and pay online at the same time. Sea Quarters Marina, 501 St. James Avenue, Highway 98 Carabel, online at seaquartersmarina.com or call them 850-697-8400.
It's time for some straight talk. You want more data? You want to pay for it? You don't have to. Now Straight Talk Wireless gives you 60% more high-speed data than before for the same low price. That's the first 8 gigs at high speed for $45 a month, or 12 gigs for just $55. That's unlimited talk, text, and data on America's largest and most dependable networks. Don't pay more, get more. Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts, only at Walmart.
A month equals 30 days. Please refer always to the latest terms and conditions of service at straighttalk.com.
It's all-pro tight end Rob Gronkowski, and nothing fuels my patented Gronk spike like all-natural Alberto beef jerky. Lean beef, slow-cooked, and seasoned to perfection. It's all-natural and all-delicious. Don't take a chance with some wimpy snack. Go with protein-packed, all-natural Alberto beef jerky.
Alberto beef jerky. You get out what you put in.
Refers to Alberto's all-natural line of beef jerkies. Minimally processed, no artificial ingredients.
The Home Depot has a new idea. Free carpet installation that means free carpet installation. Clearing out furniture? Free. Ripping out old carpet? No charge. Hauling it away? On the house. No hidden fees, just free installation on carpet $699 or more. The Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Valid on carpet priced $1 or more per square foot. Unique specialty items and requirements may be priced separately. Not valid in all markets. See HomeDepot.com for details. Offer ends August 16th.
Welcome to Wells Fargo. How can I help you?
Well, every day I get a latte from across the street, and trust me, it's best for everyone that I come to work caffeinated. Only today, I forgot my wallet.
Don't worry. We have a new way you can get money out of the ATM. Just use your phone.
My phone?
Just open your Wells Fargo app and request a one-time access code.
Oh, that's better.
Enjoy the latte.
You have done a great service for the people in my office.
No problem.
Wells Fargo is building better every day with new ways to access your accounts. Wells Fargo Bank and A, member FDIC.
Jimbo Fisher says nobody's better than the ACC when it comes to football. Did he give Alabama a little extra motivation when Florida State faces them in Week 1? Mike and Mike ask Jimbo tomorrow morning at 8:30 on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Tallahassee's sports monster.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Aside, before I get to Florida State's haul and recruiting, did you see the situation between David Price and Dennis Eckersley? Did you read that story?
No.
Doesn't read well for David Price. Makes him sound like his sensibilities are fragile. Calling out a Hall of Famer like Dennis Eckersley on a plane on the flight home more than once in a bullying-like manner.
I'm assuming that Eck is now on the Nesson broadcast. Is that why?
He criticized, or it wasn't even that big a criticism. I'll touch on it. I'll get to it a little bit later in this hour. It's kind of speaks to, I think, something that's happened when it comes to really almost in a weird way, color analysts, sports broadcasters, sports talk show hosts, writers, columnists, the kind of reaction that's really happened over the last 10 years. I don't want to be the guy that paints the millennials with a brush that broad, but the level of sensitivity to criticism of any kind, I think, has been heightened in the last 10 years or so, and then some.
Oh, I can tell you that my sister works in HR consulting, and yes, that is something that
Really struggle to handle criticism of any kind.
when hiring my generation and younger, here are some things you need to know about them.
Yeah, they bristle at the thought of being instructed to do something different than they want to do it and or to be criticized in any way. And I've noticed that in sport. I mean, listen, you have the right to say something back. It's just oftentimes athletes, especially when you're talking about kind of alpha figures, these people that are dominant in what they do, and they've soldiered ahead and refused to listen to doubters, if you will, and all of those. And one of the strengths they have is the ability to block out distraction. It's rare for many years, anyhow, that you would see that same person be so sensitive to something a writer would say or even a commentator would say of any kind. But you're seeing more and more of it now, where the pushback and the lashing out over the simplest of criticisms is not abnormal now. It's not unusual to see, anyhow.
Well, one thing I saw with a lot of athletes in the last generation, maybe your Gen X, is, and the thing I would always laugh about, is when players would say, well, I'm a humble man that, no, wait a minute. You can't, the whole point of humility is to say nothing about your humility.
Nothing about your humility.
Can't do that.
I actually think what we've done, Tom, though, and this is generational and interesting, I think that we've gone from the generation, maybe mine, that would look for any slight whatsoever to use or even perceived slights to use as motivation. That's why you got the ridiculous posit after every game by athletes. Well, they all doubted us. You were preseason ranked number 1. You're undefeated. Nobody doubted you. Vegas has you as 10-point favorites. What the hell are you talking about? That guy read one thing where somebody picked the other team and took it to mean that everybody doubted you. Somebody had a bad game, was criticized for said bad game. You threw 4 interceptions. They wondered where your head was at moving forward with such a big game against a good defense the following week. You have a good game against that defense. See, when they question me, I just know down deep that they don't know what they're talking about. I'm in the arena. Okay, buddy. You were 10 of 28 last week with 4 picks. They were right to note you played like ass. I mean, that my generation did that. They would take a lot of perceived slights and or slights that they could find anywhere. And it wasn't the majority. It was a guy somewhere. And they would paint that as bulletin board material and or the whole world's against us. The newer guy just can't handle it. It's just straight up, I'm going to confront and argue with you about your criticism.
The thing they say that's just completely contradictory on its face is when my generation says, well, I don't pay attention to the haters.
Except for I read every last word.
Really? You don't pay attention to the
there?
haters.
Yeah.
This one's for you haters.
Yeah.
So, okay. But you're above all that, right?
Above it. Yeah.
And your see, the problem is there's been a bleed over, and if you want to get into the generational studies, I know. Let's get into the younger kids for recruiting. I see it in your eyes.
Yeah.
But the problem is Gen Xers have taken that from millennials in some circumstances. See media personalities and or athletes. Now that social media is available to them, they like to lash out at any one person who says something negative towards them. I mean, even guys like Kirk Herbstreit fall for that. Where
occasionally, he doesn't fall for it a lot, but he will.
He'll get into arguments mid-season, and it's like, Kirk.
Like, dude, you're arguing some dude in middle of nowhere, Tennessee, about your analysis of Vanderbilt football. Stop.
Do you know how beloved you have to be on the cover of a Cheez-It box? Or to be pushing Home Depot? Like, man, in order to be Home Depot and Cheez-It, people have to like you a lot.
Yeah.
So I'd ignore the Penn State fan who's mad at you that Ohio State's getting in there and calling you names on social media. It means zero.
Marquez Ezzard has committed to Florida State, class of 2018, wide receiver, 6'2", 213, strong, thick build. Guy says that, or descriptions of would be Anquan Bolden. That may be a bit much, bit premature, but when you're trying to find kind of the guy that you would compare and contrast. He's not a burner. Whenever I hear that, that's code for not a burner. Possession guy, strong guy, outfight you for the football, throw you off of if you're impressed. Okay, good. Everybody needs a guy like that.
Can we have a guy who carries over that toughness to, when things aren't going well in practice and they aren't consistent, from the receiver core, he's the guy who puts everybody in line. Can we have a Telvin Smith impact from a receiver? That would be pretty
I can
awesome.
promise you, if you do find it, Jimbo Fisher will fall in love with that kid and make him the team captain and worship him years from now, because that's the unit he loves to yell at.
I saw we had 40 targets to Smith, so we need to get him the ball a little bit more.
Yeah, he will. He'll love Marquez a lot. 2018 commit Israel Mukuamu, excuse me. He's the safety at 6'4". That's a huge safety and rangy, and we shall see. Defensive end Chaz Neal was the one that I said, all right, well, you might look at that name and say, I don't know. I think I saw somewhere 2 stars next to his name, and maybe you don't care about stars. Maybe that's all you care about. But 6'7", 253 is a nice project to take a risk on, and if he happens to be related to an offensive lineman at IMG, and it helps you get that guy for the class of 2019, then it's all the more reason to take that chance. That may or may not be what's happening here.
I like that chance. That's a pretty good chance.
Good chance. John Huggins, the safety, another 2018 kid, 6'1", loves to hit. I like guys that love to hit. Football's a brutal game. He's a safety. He wants to hit you. Yay, John Huggins. People like him. 2019, you got a stud, Nakeem Dent. He's the #1 rated corner in the country, a 5-star, smooth, silky smooth, 5'11", 170. Again, a kid that is universally praised in terms of his ability so far that he's shown. So we'll wait. 2019 is hard for me to get too excited about.
I like the 5'11", though. That means he could grow to 6 feet, 6'1", because we've had some #1 rated corners in the recent past. Not immediately, not this current roster. I'm not talking about that one. But, you know,
a little dicey in height.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing about that, and over the years, we've talked about this before, you can be an elite talent and you can, obviously the ability to get in the hip pocket, turn and run, make plays, challenge balls, at their high point, all of that. But at some point, if you're a small corner, you're a small corner. And you really can't overcome it. I mean, if you're 5'9" and 5'8", you're 5'9" and 5'8", and somebody's 6'4". And you could have the greatest technique on earth, and I don't care, we get in the red zone and we throw it up, you're losing that battle. And that's the downside of these smaller corners. So, yeah.
Yeah, you have to be the Calvin Johnson of the 5'8", 5'9" population.
Yeah, you got to find a way to jump out of the gym, yeah.
In order to be able to make it to the pros, yeah.
Yeah, and again, the speed, the ability to shift directions, get in the hip pocket, turn and burn, all that stuff has got to be there. Got to obviously be able to read. I get that, but at some point, if you're a small corner, you are a small corner. And there's just no getting around that. You can still play. You can still matter. You can still contribute. But the ability to be elite and locked down, I don't know. Akeem Dent's not small. That's a good sign. And then they brought in a wide receiver in Jalen Curry for the class of 2019. He's a kid out of Texas. A big receiver, 6'2", 200-plus pounds already.
I like how we've been hitting on Texas, Texas
we've been
targets.
doing really well in Georgia. We're doing well in Texas and Virginia.
Well, the DMV area has been ours for quite some time now, yeah.
It's a thing there's a lot of talent in all these places. And again, you know me. You guys listen to this show on a regular basis. I don't double down on recruiting. I'll triple down on this show, one each hour. Figured you should know. That's a good sign when you got people excited that don't necessarily have FSU ties. These are people who just follow recruiting, and they go, that was a good weekend for them. Florida had a good weekend, too. They got their quarterback. Florida had a good weekend, too. So it's going to be interesting. Listen, Miami's been doing really well under Rick. So I think we're starting to see a pattern here emerge where in 2 or 3 years, you better button up, because we're talking about stuff from the 90s again, and that's why it's all the more important that I think Florida State obviously be able to get the quarterback in Fields, because if that happens, you got your guy in play to make a run at it, and usually that's the difference maker when all things are equal.
Cometh the king. You best not miss.
Well, and I suspected it would be, just a matter of time before Florida got their guy, and obviously Miami's recruiting well. So this could get interesting. Let's go ahead and cash in another national title before it gets heightened like that. You know what I'm saying? Just get you one more.
Well, and let's pump the brakes on. Miami's got the #1 class. They've got a ton of recruits committed, but it is July before signing day. If they still have that many top-flight recruits in December, there's usually a great purge down at Coral Gables.
One of the causes of said purge is the fact that in addition to their facilities being inferior, they lose 4 and 5 games every year. It's tough to sustain that level of excellence in recruiting when you're a perennial mediocre to subpar program.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
Get your Gravely motor only at TNT Supercenter, your one-stop shop for work or play. 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. TNTSupercenter.com.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford. The place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
You know why we love the country music community? Their passion for hometowns. Because at Country Inns and Suites, at home is how we want every guest to feel. That's why we offer complimentary comforts, such as hot breakfast every morning, a Wi-Fi connection, and coffee around the clock. Plus, our spacious rooms are the perfect place to relax and unwind. Our home is always open to you and your family. Book your next stay at countryinns.com.
Power Service is made just for diesels. Does your diesel run like it did when you first got it? You'd be surprised at the power you've lost over the miles. Diesel Clean plus cetane boost from Power Service restores lost power and fuel economy, cleans injectors, and smooths rough-running engines. And now buy 2 80-ounce bottles of Diesel Clean and get $10 back. That's right, $10. Learn more at PowerServiceRebate.com. PowerServiceRebate.com.
Power Service. Made just for diesels.
Offer good at participating retailers only.
Brent, this month's topic is classic song lyrics. You ready?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Here's a lyric. American history, practical math. You study them hard and hoping to pass.
It's from School Days by the great Chuck Berry. He wrote and recorded so many great hits.
You mean like TNT Supercenter sells and services so many top golf cart brands with an enormous selection all under one roof?
TNT Supercenter customers can compare the top golf cart brands side by side. Club Car, Yamaha, Star EV, and the ultimate hunting vehicle to beat. TNT Supercenter has the largest selection of carts in the area. Pre-owned cars starting at just $19.99. New carts with a 4-year warranty starting at just $49.99. And at TNT, our service center and service technicians are trained, certified, and authorized for every brand we sell.
And there's plenty of parts and accessories too, right?
Our parts inventory is huge, and we'll dress up your existing cart with a full line of Mad Jack's premium accessory products like seat kits, light kits, lift kits, and now for a limited time, save 20% on all Mad Jack's parts and accessories.
TNT Supercenter, US 19 South, next to Dairy Queen in Thomasville, and online at TNTSupercenter.com.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan. Once again, all of you with stellar credit ratings, congratulations. And this message is not for you. All year I've been talking about our New For You program to assist good people with dings in their credit. And just last week, a friend of mine came into my office worried about his own credit rating. But thanks to our New For You program, you guessed it, he drove away in a brand new Nissan Altima. We are proud of the fact that we have helped hundreds of people that were previously limited shopping little used car lots where they overpaid, got huge finance charges, and had very few choices on cars to purchase. Some of those lots may actually hurt your credit more than they could ever help. So remember, credit score under 600? Come on in. Recent bankruptcy? Come on in. Recently divorced? Come on in. Think you have a financial problem we've never heard of? Come on in to Kraft Nissan. And come see the one dealer in Tallahassee that can really help you out. Come see the cars that everyone wants at the hottest dealer in town, Kraft Nissan. And remember, if you don't see the Kraft tag on your car, you paid too much, way too much. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco, or visit us on the web at craftnissan.com.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
This is Adrienne Lawrence with some breaking news out of L.A. Fox Sports reports that Dodgers ace and 3-time Cy Young Award winner Clayton Kershaw will miss 4 to 6 weeks. That is an early prognosis, though, as the team has yet to release their official amount of time that he'll be out. Kershaw exited the game last night against the Braves with lower back tightness. And the Dodgers have been doing well with him this season. They've been 19-2 when Kershaw starts. To the NL Central, the Cubs activated righty Kyle Hendricks off the 10-day DL to make his start today. Chicago opens a 4-game series against the White Sox. To the NFL, Eagles coach Doug Peterson said that wideout Jordan Matthews could be limited in the early stages of training camp as well as he continues to deal with knee tendonitis. Sticking with the Eagles, linebacker Jordan Hicks underwent a minor procedure to repair a broken bone in his hand. He'll be limited for the start of training camp. Into the Raceway, Dale Earnhardt Jr., who's retiring from NASCAR Cup racing after the season, is now joining NBC Universal's broadcast team in 2018 on a multi-year deal.
Trades are scary. When a player leaves your team, you can't like them anymore. You can't even wear their jersey. Except here, we won't judge, but others might. Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Man Cave Monday, brought to you by Experimag of Tallahassee. Experimag, Tallahassee's trusted tech source for Apple. Stopping at 346 South Magnolia Drive or call at 765-2012 today.
I got to tell you something funny. Sometimes right before we get on to do a segment, I'll get a text from my wife or I get a text from a friend or whatever it might be that caused me to chuckle and get distracted. But this one was good because I got busted. And I really thought I was going to get away with it. But I didn't. So for those that do follow me on Twitter, you may have noted that I've been up since 3:50 this morning. Insomnia got me again last night, and
so you're up since
3:50. I've been up since 3:50.
You weren't up till 3:50.
No. I was perfectly normal yesterday. There was no reason. I went to bed at like 10. I think I went to bed at 10:30. Whatever. I was laying in bed at 10:30 reading, drifting off to sleep. Thought it was going to be a wonderful night's sleep, Tom, but insomnia said no, not for you, sir. So at 3:52 to be exact, my eyes popped open, and it wasn't that kind where I have levels where I can usually gauge, and the first one is, I'm sleepy. It's the middle of the night. I've still got a couple of hours. Good, and I roll back over.
The greatest bonus feeling in the world.
It's awesome because you think it's time to get up, and you go, I got a couple of hours. It's awesome. This wasn't that. This was, hey, man, we're awake. Why don't you get up and do something? And I get into the arguments with my brain in that situation. No, man, it's 3:52. That's ridiculous. I'll get up and get a glass of water, but that's it. That's the end of you. You go back to sleep. So I did. I laid back down, and I figured, all right, so that'll be that. But no, it was wide awake. Mine was racing. What are you going to do? So I just decided that's fine. I'll get up because I don't fight it now. I get too angry if I fight it, and I sit there. It devolves into something bad. So I just got up. But what I did do was I go in the kitchen and I have, so you know those what are those tumblers, those big cups? No, like the what are they called?
Tervis tumblers.
Tervis tumblers, yeah. So we have 3 Tervis tumblers in our house, and I like them because they're the biggest glasses we have. I guzzle a huge thing of water every morning to start my day. Otherwise, I won't get enough water. And Lord knows I'm going to drink a lot of coffee. So I need to hydrate. So those 3 Tervis tumblers, one's a Tampa Bay Buccaneers one, another one's a Tampa Bay Lightning one, and another one is just the letter C. And that's the one my wife uses for Christy or for Cameron, whatever. It's just the letter C.
Is it the Cleveland Indians C?
No, it's just a C. It's like a cursive C. It's a pink giant C. It was basically her cup. But the other 2 were dirty. And I walk out there, it's 4-something in the morning, and I see that cup, and I'm like, all right. I'm going to use the big C Tervis tumbler. I guess I was kind of half out of it, and I turned with the Tervis tumbler, and I clipped it on the edge of the counter. It flew from my hand and shattered on the floor.
Really?
Yeah, they never break, but the plastic cracked. I mean, it was really a violent move of the cup, and it just, pap! And so the C went flying. The part with the C went flying across, and I was thinking I woke the whole house up. Ooh.
The dogs start barking?
Oh yeah, they're moving around like, what the hell? And so then anyhow, I'm quickly trying to just fix the situation, remedy the situation. So what I did was I took the cup and I threw it away. I mean, it's beyond repair. It's done. And so I threw it in the trash. And I just said, all right, let's move on here. But I knew that was her favorite cup. And so I immediately, later on, when I cooked some eggs, I threw the eggs on top of it so that she... So just now, I get a text, what the hell? What'd you do to the tumbler, man? You have broken more blank in this house than I can count.
Oh, really?
Yeah, now I'm being accused of breaking all kinds of stuff. I think that's just her anger getting the best of her.
She really liked the tumblers, so this is wit's end kind of stuff.
Well, and I'm just laughing as we start the segment because it came in right when I was going back on. And what I'm laughing about is the thought of her finding it. Like, how did she find it underneath the eggs? And then my kids' napkins from their breakfast this morning were on. I mean, I was careful to put a lot of stuff on top of that tumbler. Like anything that needed to be picked up. Oh, we just got to throw that away. Let's get that in there. So I don't know what made her. I mean, she probably was looking for the Tervis tumbler. Where's my C Tervis tumbler? Well, there's his Bucks and Lightning one in the dirty wash in the washing machine there. Dishwasher, as it's known by most people. Where's mine? Maybe it's in the back. Like, what possessed her to check the garbage?
Man, you know, you just inadvertently ruined my day. You know how backed up I am on the dish duty right now? I've got an hour's worth of dishes to do. It's going to suck.
You can focus, man. You can lock in. It'll be all right.
Yeah, but the right now I got to get the disposal fixed, the garbage disposal, because the sink backs up in there. So I only got one half of the sink to use for all these dishes.
You can't let it get out of control, Tom.
I know.
You
well,
can't. You got.
No, it's
you
my
had the
fault.
weekend, sir. You can't let it get out of control. Good Lord.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, there's impossible to bounce back from that. So let me just do this while I'm off the beaten path. I don't know if you saw this, but if you didn't, I didn't want too many days to slip by before it came to your attention because I'm worried that you would be really, really concerned, given that I know specifically you love one of his movies, at the very least. I love several, and I'll touch on that, but one, an actor has passed over the weekend.
Oh, no.
You know who John Hurt is?
Yeah.
From Home Alone.
Home Alone, Dad. I know.
Yeah, he died at the age of 71 after back surgery.
He was in The Sopranos.
He was, and as a guest appearance on The Sopranos, he ended up winning an award. He was also in Awakenings. He was also in Big. He was also in Radio Flyer. He was also in a great movie, by the way, which you may never have seen because it came out before you were born, but I did see it and thought it was great. It's called Cutter's Way. Came out in 1981, and if you haven't seen it, it's A, good, but moreover, he's really good. And I remember the first time I saw it, I was a young lad. I think I was 10, 11, maybe 12 years old, and it's worth your time. He's sensational in it. But John Hurt was 71, man. And I knew how much you loved Home Alone.
The two of them, the first two, yeah.
Yeah. And I thought, man, months are going to go by, and somehow this guy's name is going to come up at some point, and I will not have informed him that John Hurt is indeed dead. He was in a Scorsese film, After Hours, as well. He was good.
Man, you know, and that movie, what's really frustrating about the parents is the mom in that movie, who also plays the mom in Beetlejuice, and she's in any number of movies. She's so reprehensible that I always, you know, sympathize with Mr. Hurd. And I said, good Lord.
The character,
that
yes.
you have to live with this. Yes, it's Mr. McAllister. I mean, Mr. McAllister has to live with this woman. My God.
He's also in a movie, an independent film I saw in high school called A Trip to Bountiful. So he did a lot of work outside the mainstream as well, and he was in Miami Vice, by the way.
So he looks like he would have been in Miami Vice in his earlier days.
Yeah, he was in Miami Vice. He could play that jerk character well, and he could play those others that we know well. But it should be noted, John Hurt, 71. I guess, I don't know, he was found in a hotel room, and at least he was in Palo Alto. It's beautiful out there.
There you go. Yeah.
He was all right.
Home Alone theme okay for the on the way
Sure,
out?
buddy. On the way out of the segment, sure. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You can tell a lot about a tractor by its warranty. That's why Mahindra makes the toughest tractors on earth. With steel, not plastic. Backed by the industry's best limited powertrain warranty, period. Not 5 years, not 6 years, but a full 7 years on select models. No wonder the other guys are green with envy.
No money down, 0% interest, and no payments until July. Available at TNT Supercenter.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Why not purchase a programmable thermostat to regulate your air conditioner while you're not at home? Talk about an investment that'll pay energy savings dividends. Make an appointment right away for a free energy audit from the City of Tallahassee Utilities. You never know how much energy you can save until you do it. The City of Tallahassee is offering insulation grants. Why not apply for one? Did you know that the City of Tallahassee offers loans to help with the purchase of solar water heaters? Visit talgov.com/YOU for information on loans and rebates. So stay cool, go green, and save energy all summer long. A message from the City of Tallahassee Utilities, America's #1 public utility.
The Ford Summer Sales Event is in full swing.
Is your truck going to be able to handle all these pavers for the patio?
No problem. The F-150 has got a high-strength military-grade aluminum alloy body.
Oh. With best-in-class payload, the F-150 can handle the work you need it to.
Remember when I had a high-strength military-grade body?
I don't, actually.
It's always a good
Take on summer right with Ford, America's best-selling brand, during the Ford Summer Sales Event. Hurry and get our hottest offers during the Ford Summer Sales Event, like 0% financing for 60 months on select Ford F-150s. Plus, get an additional $1,000 on top of your trade-in. Offer ends July 31st. Best selling based on 2016 sales when properly equipped. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds. GVWR based on Ford segmentation. Not all buyers qualify for Ford credit financing. 60 months at $1,667 per month for $1,000 finance regardless of down payment. Trade assist cash requires trade-in of 95 or newer vehicle or lease terminated 30 days prior to or 90 days after new retail delivery. Not available on Raptor. See dealer or go to buyfordnow.com for complete details. Take new retail delivery from dealer stock by July 31st, 2017.
It's time for some straight talk. You want more data? You want to pay for it? You don't have to. Now Straight Talk Wireless gives you 60% more high-speed data than before for the same low price. That's the first 8 gigs at high speed for $45 a month, or 12 gigs for just $55. That's unlimited talk, text, and data on America's largest and most dependable networks. Don't pay more, get more. Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts, only at Walmart.
A month equals 30 days. Please refer always to the latest terms and conditions of service at straighttalk.com.
It's all-pro tight end Rob Gronkowski, and nothing fuels my patented Gronk spike like all-natural Alberto beef jerky. Lean beef, slow-cooked, and seasoned to perfection. It's all-natural and all-delicious. Don't take a chance with some wimpy snack. Go with protein-packed, all-natural Alberto beef jerky.
Alberto beef jerky. You get out what you put in.
Refers to Alberto's all-natural line of beef jerkies. Minimally processed, no artificial ingredients.
Jimbo Fisher says nobody's better than the ACC when it comes to football. Did he give Alabama a little extra motivation when Florida State faces them in Week 1? Mike and Mike ask Jimbo tomorrow morning at 8:30 on 97.9 ESPN Radio, Tallahassee's sports monster.
You're listening to the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. So let me ask you this. because this has been debated and it was rightfully pointed out by several people that it's unfair, again, to do the kind of comparisons. You understand why, though, when somebody ascends in terms of the world of golf and their successes as quickly as Jordan has. How many majors in the next 4 years?
In the next 4 years.
That's a better thing to do than, say, for a career, because here's what happens. Guys get married, man. They have kids. Things happen. Your attention is no longer singularly focused on whatever sport you play or task you have, and that changes your outlook, your perspective, and your work ethic. Maybe not your work ethic, but your work pattern, and any little shift in what you do can alter success rate, and for the better or worse.
He seems to be wired differently than Rory, even when Rory was a little bit younger. I'd say 7. I think 1 a year. I think that's a good number. He'll have an offer, and then he might win 2 in a year. Hell, he might win 1 in 3 weeks.
You know what I think is weird? I don't think he'll win that one. What I think is weird is I always ask that question, and it's less to do with golf. It's just anytime somebody's succeeding at a very high level at a very young age, and they're doing things that some of the game's greats have either done or even surpassing some of that, and it leads to wild speculation. I just wonder, do you have to have sort of what we've described as a unique, off-putting in some cases, personality to be able to get to the transcendent level? Now, that's not fair, because most people say, by all accounts, Jack was really well-balanced. That's what makes him more remarkable, is that he's the all-time record holder in that category, and he's the dad that's calling home and not telling his kid that he just won the U.S. Open in a playoff by a stroke, but instead asking him what he did for the weekend. I mean, that's those stories are very, very unique.
Yeah, the ratio of time on the road versus time at home was really important to him, and it was a rule that he wouldn't break. Yeah.
That's not normal. Most of the time, somewhat maniacal. And so, like, Jordan has slowed way down, and what has happened in that time? He's revealed that golf isn't the be-all, end-all to him.
Yeah, I think the hard part is, okay, when he plays like he did on Saturday.
I said Jordan. I meant to say Rory.
Rory, yeah. And Rory's even talked about that.
That's what I'm saying. Rory's it's not the be all end all to him.
Yeah, as it relates to Tiger, says if I have to become that,
I'm not doing it.
I'm not doing it.
Right.
You know, to win 14 majors, do I have to become that? I don't want 14 then. That's not important to me.
Right.
But I think Rory is in a place where I'm very interested to see what he does at the PGA Championship. But there are so many good golfers right now, and I circle back to that. You know, Dustin Johnson has had kind of a lost season. He's got a chance in 3 weeks to make up for it. But, you know, the Augusta, that never was, because if there was a surefire favorite.
So well, and then that happens. And I guess we're just going to have to trust that he fell down some steps, Tom.
Yeah.
I guess.
I think in the next I think Phil's done. I think Phil's done.
Well, he was ass, yeah.
And he's got rid of his caddy, and I think that matters more than people give it credit for.
I'll tell you whose caddy really matters is Jordan Spieth, who's willing to put up with all kinds of nonsense.
Tiger Woods' caddy mattered a little bit,
Mattered a
didn't he?
lot. Well, and you know what maybe we didn't know, or you may have known more than me, but I swear when you talk to former tour players, and we have with Kenny Knox, and you talk to golf coaches like I do with Trey, and you kind of read between the lines for people who cover the sport, yeah, it does matter a lot. When you're talking about the best of the best, yeah, the guy that has the caddy, that it's just, well, even Trey talking about how Brooks and his caddy have a unique relationship, that once they figured out what Brooks was really asking, and it took 4 or 5 events of really just struggling, and that caddy finally figuring out, oh, here's the number that he needs. He only needs this number. He doesn't need anything else.
Frankly, I'm interested to see how Brooks plays in 3 weeks, because I wonder if he had it to do over again, would he have taken that entire gap off from competitive golf? Because he looked every bit rusty for the Open.
How good you have to be.
Mm-hmm.
How good do you have to be to finish in the top 10 of a major of that event and really not play anywhere close to your best level of golf? I mean, he played that well, and he said that. I mean, he played – there were stretches where he played well, but he couldn't keep it together.
That's why I think saying that, you know, Jordan averages 1 a year for the next 4 years is a high compliment. There's an extra gear he has that's a little bit different. It's just he doesn't strike that gear as often as Tiger did.
Not yet. We'll see. Maybe he starts to learn how to channel it and do it more frequently. And then yeah, Katie barred the door. Final hour forthcoming. Stay with.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You can tell a lot about a tractor by its warranty. That's why Mahindra makes the toughest tractors on earth. With steel, not plastic. Backed by the industry's best limited powertrain warranty, period. Not 5 years, not 6 years, but a full 7 years on select models. No wonder the other guys are green with envy.
No money down, 0% interest, and no payments until July. Available at TNT Supercenter.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Outrageously energizing experience of Mountain Dew Kickstart is like? Well, it's like a combo of 3 awesome things. Dew, juice, and caffeine, rebooting your entire personal operating system.
Mountain Dew Kickstart is in position for consumption. All systems cleared for launch. Initiate launch sequence. T-minus 3, 2, 1, mark. Release the Mountain Dew Kickstart. Mountain Dew Kickstart released. Experiencing a charge of Mountain Dew Kickstart now.
Mountain Dew Kickstart operation successful.
You are now off the couch and out exploring the world.
Roger that. Get charged up for what's coming next, anytime, anywhere, with Mountain Dew Kickstart. Available in 10 energizing flavors like mango lime, raspberry citrus, midnight grape, and orange citrus. Mountain Dew Kickstart. Fuel with flavor.
RCD Shell knows how to keep you cool and refreshed. All 20-ounce Pepsi and Mountain Dew products are 2 for $2.22. That's right, 2 for $2.22. And 28-ounce Gatorade is buy one, get one free. It's more fun with Pepsi and Dew, so bring on the bubbles with these cool prices at RCD Shell.
You know why we love the country music community? Their passion for hometowns. Because at Country Inns and Suites, at home is how we want every guest to feel. That's why we offer complimentary comforts, such as hot breakfast every morning, a Wi-Fi connection, and coffee around the clock. Plus, our spacious rooms are the perfect place to relax and unwind. Our home is always open to you and your family. Book your next stay at countryinns.com.
Power Service is made just for diesels. Does your diesel run like it did when you first got it? You'd be surprised at the power you've lost over the miles. Diesel Clean plus cetane boost from Power Service restores lost power and fuel economy, cleans injectors, and smooths rough-running engines. And now buy 2 80-ounce bottles of Diesel Clean and get $10 back. That's right, $10. Learn more at PowerServiceRebate.com. PowerServiceRebate.com.
Power Service. Made just for diesels.
Offer good at participating retailers only.
Brent, this month's topic is classic song lyrics. You ready?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Here's a lyric. American history, practical math. You study them hard and hoping to pass.
It's from School Days by the great Chuck Berry. He wrote and recorded so many great hits.
You mean like TNT Supercenter sells and services so many top golf cart brands with an enormous selection all under one roof?
TNT Supercenter customers can compare the top golf cart brands side by side. Club Car, Yamaha, Star EV, and the ultimate hunting vehicle to beat. TNT Supercenter has the largest selection of carts in the area. Pre-owned carts starting at just $19.99. New carts with a 4-year warranty starting at just $49.99. And at TNT, our service center and service technicians are trained, certified, and authorized for every brand we sell.
And there's plenty of parts and accessories too, right?
Our parts inventory is huge, and we'll dress up your existing cart with a full line of Mad Jack's premium accessory products like seat kits, light kits, lift kits, and now for a limited time, save 20% on all of Mad Jack's parts and accessories.
TNT Supercenter, US 19 South, next to Dairy Queen in Thomasville, and online at TNTSupercenter.com.
Broadcasting live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
this is Adrienne Lawrence with some breaking news out of L.A. Fox Sports reports that Dodgers ace and 3-time Cy Young Award winner Clayton Kershaw will miss 4 to 6 weeks. That is an early prognosis, though, as the team has yet to release their official amount of time that he'll be out. Kershaw exited the game last night against the Braves with lower back tightness, and the Dodgers have been doing well with him this season. They've been 19-2 when Kershaw starts. To the NL Central, the Cubs activated righty Kyle Hendricks off the 10-day DL to make his start today. Chicago opens a 4-game series against the White Sox. To the NFL, Eagles coach Doug Peterson said that wideout Jordan Matthews could be limited in the early stages of training camp as well as he continues to deal with knee tendonitis. Sticking with the Eagles, linebacker Jordan Hicks underwent a minor procedure to repair a broken bone in his hand. He'll be limited for the start of training camp. Into the raceway, Dale Earnhardt Jr., who's retiring from NASCAR Cup racing after the season, is now joining NBC Universal's broadcast team in 2018 on a multi-year deal.
Trays are scary. When a player leaves your team, you can't like them anymore. You can't even wear their jersey. Except here, we won't judge, but others might. Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Man Cave Monday, brought to you by Experamac of Tallahassee. Experamac, Tallahassee's trusted tech source for Apple. Stopping at 346 South Magnolia Drive or call at 765-2012 today.
Final hour of the Jeff Cameron Show, at least for today. Thanks for tuning to it. Hope you're well. Good Monday. Welcome back. Thanks for listening to the show. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free always. Don't miss anything, but if you do, all 3 hours to be posted both on iTunes and in our own audio vault upon the conclusion of the show. That's all brought to you with limited commercial interruption thanks to our great friends and podcast sponsor, Carlton Dean, carltondean.com. Go there and find out about commercial real estate. Learn a little something. He's been doing it for a long time. He and the fine folks at SVN doing what needs to be done in terms of informing you ways to make money in commercial real estate. carltondean.com. Email the show if you want. It's jcs979espnradio.com. Find me on Twitter at jcameronshow, and the TSM app. You can do it. It's free for your mobile devices. We're on YouTube, ESPN Tallahassee. Jordan Spieth runs away late with a rather miraculous turnaround after a hole for the ages on 13 and some crazy shots to go along with. I'll touch on it momentarily. Let's lead with the recruiting for those hopping in the car, though, that missed it in the first 2 hours. What's up?
Jordan Spieth, a hole for the ages.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah.
Knowles picked up some commitments, and I don't always lead, nor do I even hardly mention sometimes verbal commits, especially those that are going to be coming for the class of 2019. But when you get a 5-star cornerback like Hakeem Dent and he says yes, all right, knock on wood, you can hold it down, that you can keep that commitment. That's one thing, though, I will say that over the years we've noted they get early commitments from kids and they find a way to keep them. They keep more than you would suspect. I mean, somebody of that caliber, Hakeem Dent's a 5-star corner, 5'11" kid who's silky smooth, number one cornerback in the country, according to some. You know, it'd be hard. A lot of guys are still going to come at him despite his announcement. And yet I trust that they're going to be able to get that kid. I do. This staff has done a real good job, for the most part, of holding down guys like that.
Well, especially cornerstone-type guys.
Right.
You know, ones that they know are going to be the type that go recruit other kids.
Mm-hmm.
They don't typically lose those ones. And that's key, because if you have a spokesman, if you will, within the class of, I don't know, way back when in 2013 or something along those lines, and then they flip, man, then you've got to scramble and get that message going. So, yeah, they seem to tab the high-caliber kids that they know are either going to be early enrollees or going to stick for a long period of time. And for the most part, yeah, the big ones that they know and like, they'll stay.
And you wonder what was going on at this camp where guys are talking and there's already, if you want to couple it with the buzz surrounding Justin Fields, who we don't know the answer from just yet, but a lot of talk is that kid is now really kind of whittled it down between Florida State and Georgia. I mentioned that the mom wants him to go to Georgia. We all know that. Why do I even know that kid's name? Well, he's one of those special talents at quarterback. So you're talking about a guy that obviously can turn a program around if he doesn't come here, if he goes to one that desperately needs a quarterback. There was thought that maybe the University of Florida could get him. Auburn was trying to get him, and they thought they were in the mix as well. That all of a sudden a program that's been middling is good again. But it's partly to do with what you're talking about. Not only is he a great talent, not only is he 6'3", 220, and we still don't know where he's going to go, but one of the reasons you want to get him beyond the immense talent is that guys like that tend to recruit, tend to bring in 2 and 3 other studs who are just waiting on where it is he goes. That's right, Jimbo. Roll on up in that Golf Pimp Mobile.
Process one.
Is that what we decided? Process one?
Yeah, process one.
So we need him to say yes. We need mom to stop worrying about her child going to Georgia. You want your son to go and make a lot of money in the NFL, you come to Florida State as a quarterback. That's where the hell you go. Track record says so. Don't let your emotions get the best of you.
Does Kirby Smart cash those checks in the pros?
No, it's Jimbo Fisher. So we'll wait and see where he goes. I mentioned Akeem Dent because he's a 5-star for 2019. Jalen Curry, wide receiver, big kid out of Texas, 4-star also for 2019. But what I was really excited about were all the 2018 commits. So that's more immediate. That's something that does get your attention when you're able to bring in players that have a chance to impact the team very, very suddenly because of their immense talent. We're talking about Ezard, the wide receiver, Marquez Ezard, 6'1", 6'2", strong kid, strong hands, thick build, 215 pounds, comes in here as a guy that you think, in a weird way, I guess you would think of him as, and I guess I'll still hold out hope that maybe it still happens, but I don't think it will. Devontae Phillips, he described in a very similar vein, tough kid, football player first, wide receiver second, great hands, all that stuff. He is yet to really emerge. Maybe Marquez becomes that kid.
Yes, getting off the bus and walking into the stadium, you look at Devontae Phillips and you say,
yeah.
Oh, okay. So that guy is not going to be toyed with on the field. He's not going to have time for your little games. Hopefully, yes. Hopefully he has a breakthrough. I think we're going to need somebody, one player that we're not talking about. The big three are the ones that we're hyping up, and that's obviously in no particular order, Tate, Gavin, and Nooney. But somebody from a DJ Matthews as a true freshman or somebody like Devontae Phillips, I think we're going to have to lean on an unexpected name at some point during the season to be the steadying force.
Yeah, and I was asked the question online last night, how do you win without Dalvin Cook? And you win with, obviously, a little bit more balance, meaning more people contribute to your offensive success than just an elite running back. We have a stable of very good running backs. All of them can add up to something close to Dalvin. Do any one of them have that extraordinary ability to take a dead play, a loss of 5, and turn it into a 80-yard touchdown? Maybe with the exception of Cam Akers, the answer would that be no right now. I'm still waiting on Amir Rasul. Like a lot of people there will tell you, hold on, Amir Rasul is a blazing kid. He's been hurt. You got to see him at his best. So maybe he can too. But you look at the talent at that position, the depth at that position, you feel good about it. But also, since we're talking about wide receivers, and that's because of Marquez Ezard that committed to Florida State, well, our frustration for a very long time over the last 2 years in particular has been that we're throwing to midgets, that we're throwing to small that's not the proper term. I apologize. That we're Smurfs. That we're throwing to small guys, and that, in fact, we finally have a wide receiving core. I saw the look on your face like,
Smurfs. That's fantastic. What a pivot. That's where we go.
Yeah. So it's not derogatory. I love the Smurfs. They're just not what I need at wide receiver. Maybe that was more derogatory. I love the Smurfs is even more
I just like
derogatory.
picturing Jimbo's Gargamel when there was Hare Island.
So you're throwing to bigger, more explosive receivers. I mean, that has been infinitely frustrating. I mean, who's to say now that just because now all of a sudden you've got guys that haven't consistently done it, but their upside's a lot better. And they're guys that if you just throw it in the general vicinity, they can go make some plays. As opposed to throwing it to 5'8" dudes. How about that?
Yeah, it's so hard in late July because we're watching, ghosts of last year, and obviously we're on the top 25 countdown in more places than we want because a couple of our losses are in the top 25 games.
Sure.
But I'm watching the Orange Bowl over the weekend. It seems like we've all gone through this cycle. The Ole Miss game was
I
first.
watched it as well, yeah.
There was the Miami game, which we all watched last week, and then the Orange Bowl was on over the weekend. I'm talking with my girlfriend. She says, what do you think about the record? She feels a little bit down on it because the schedule is difficult, and I think it's boom or bust, really. But there were signs last year where I say, okay, well, that could translate. There is a little bit of a physical signature on offense, and maybe this team could have that kind of nastiness to it a little bit. And if you have the taller receivers to go with it, do you need your quarterback to be, just pinpoint accurate at all times?
Right.
No, catch radiuses do increase as people get taller. This is science. So he's got a bigger margin for error if he's throwing to the big targets.
Preach on, brother. I've been thinking the whole thing all weekend long.
I can see how that would work. I just hope that whatever our tailback situation is, be it Rasul or Jaquez or Cam Akers, who I think it's going to be, just something. There's some kind of aura,
a little magic there, huh?
If you can just get him to the line of scrimmage. Remember the numbers on Dalvin a couple years
11 yards a carry if he got to the line of scrimmage untouched. He was averaging more than a first down.
But you didn't feel hopeless if you couldn't get him to the line of scrimmage. He could still make something happen. I don't know that anybody in this crop is capable like that.
Well, that was okay, so where you get into trouble, where turnovers happen, where your quarterback gets hit, where you really struggle. Dalvin was able to save you from that to some extent, and he still got drilled last year, meaning Francois. Plays that were dead in the water, that were setting up 2nd and 14, 2nd and 12, turned into 2nd and 9. I'm not talking about the plays 2nd and 7. I'm not talking about the plays where he goes and somehow makes 7 guys miss and goes 65 yards. I'm talking about the plays where it's blown up, somebody missed an assignment, it's a straight shot at his feet, he makes a miss in a phone booth and gets back to the line of scrimmage where you can still run if you want to again here.
Drive's not dead.
Yeah, it's not over with. You go 2nd and 17, I think we know what's coming.
See, I think the thing for Akers is his vision is going to develop while he's here. The physical tools are all already there.
Already there, yeah.
So if you can block it the way it's drawn up at all this year, then I think Akers has a tremendous impact because he can take the physical punishment. He has the tools.
Well, and you and I have already speculated that, listen, for whatever reason, I don't know why, he's not in love with the big back, and he was to some extent, but Wilder was maybe the last of those guys. I don't know.
No, I'm thinking maybe by the time we get into the flow of the season that it's something closer to 2014 because we did. I mean, even as Dalvin was emerging, we would still use Carlos Williams, to punch it in the short yardage
red zone
situations.
stuff, yeah.
I think maybe that's the balance we'll eventually strike.
But he's good in the middle of the field. He's good at the 50. He's good at the,
I agree with you completely. I thought last year it was a revelation. It just so happened that you had the best running back in program history on the same team. And you're talking about 2 different games that these two guys are playing, but Patrick ran very, very well last year.
He ran hard. He ran smart. He was less of that too far over his feet guy and more steady than he had been previous. He did all the things that Fisher wanted him to do by playing tougher, those kinds of things. Maybe it's in our head. Maybe he just said, look, I've got the most dynamic guy in college football in the backfield. I'll be damned if I'm going to go through this season without utilizing him to the max. And he's a guy that can change the scoreboard. And since I don't have receivers that can, he's my guy. I'm going to let him make plays. Now he's gone. Now I've got an incoming freshman that's described in a similar vein, but we haven't seen it yet. And even Dalvin took a little while to get going in the beginning. Obviously, he still wasn't even the guy until there were some injuries. So maybe Patrick gets his opportunity, fulfills that. You do have a hard time envisioning him being the guy, though, against Alabama. Too much stop-start in the backfield. is not going to be his forte, right? You don't envision that being a thing for him. I mean, yet, that said, it's an awful lot to put on Cam Akers in his first game.
Yeah, and the one thing I noticed, too, in watching some of these, best of games, we ran Francois more than I thought we did.
Yeah, and by the way, he's very, very effective at running the football. Yeah. He's got very good vision. He gets down. He's a good player. I'm with you. By the way, let me get to these other recruits that I started off the hour with and then didn't bother to get to. Israel Mukuamu is a safety that is very well thought of for the class of 2018, 6'4". I mentioned Pat Watkins because he's another tall, rangy safety that Florida State fans might be able to remember. Chaz Neal, defensive end, 6'7", 253. You look at the stars next to his name, you're not impressed. He's a defensive end, but while he may need development, you got to love 6'7", 250. And he's coming off a year in which he had a broken leg, so maybe that's another part of it where you haven't heard as much about him. I wondered if he was related to Evan Neal, who's a 2019 IMG offensive line stud. If so, that might also explain the offer to Chaz Neal. Not taking anything away from Chaz, but these things happen in the recruiting world. Just saying.
But if you want to work on a project and you look at the list of our coaches, I think Brad Long would be at the top or close to the top of the list.
Oh, sure. Working with guys, to get him flipped. Yeah, and then John Huggins, a 6'1", bigger sort of safety out of Daytona. Loves to hit you. He's committed as well, 2018 class. So I already mentioned the two 2019 studs, the receiver and the cornerback, and Akeem Dent. But then you look at these four guys, and they're all 2018. So the camp and this summer has been good to Florida State. Now I think for most of us looking at it, look, at the end of the day, what we do know now is that Alabama is going to be unseated for the first time in forever as the team that is number one in recruiting. They do not look to be number one in this next class, partially because they've been taking 28 kids every year. They even managed to gray shirt a freaking 5-star last year, which, what are we doing here? At some point, you just run out of room.
Well, at some point, the rules change, too.
It's also a good thing if you're an Alabama fan to say, well, we run out of room to house all these great players, and a lot of them don't feel like waiting anymore. But that does mean that it opens the door a little bit, and I know everybody likes to puff out their chest if they have the number one recruiting class. I think Ohio State's actually going to win that honor. But Florida State will be right there in the top three. And, again, if you get a Justin Fields, that might open the doors to some other studs who by the way, would follow him.
You said something interesting. If it wasn't last hour, it was a 3 p.m. hour. I got two choices, I guess, right? But about how in a few years we might be setting up for the state of Florida to return.
Well, I think it's starting to look that way because Florida got their quarterback. Now, they've got a lot of work to do still, but the Matt Corral kid comes in from California, 5-star quarterback, and I know people will want to switch their tone in what they think of him, but you go back a ways, and a lot of people like this guy, and I mean a lot of people in the Garnet and Gold and others who follow recruiting closely. It's not my big thing, so I'm not going to pretend to know the ins and outs of that kid. I just know he's a California kid, a 5-star kid. Of the film that I've watched, he makes all the throws. So he's athletic, and he's strong enough. He's a big enough kid. Looks like the real deal. Looks like a kid that will step in and be of a higher caliber player than they've had at Florida for a while. Rick's doing a very good job at Miami, as you were noting about their recruiting class ranking. So you're starting to see this influx of talent again with the two rivals that we've held down for a little while.
I think it's fair to say, though, if you were looking at the top three in recruiting right now over the last handful of seasons, it's Alabama, us, Ohio State. I think, and maybe you flip Ohio State and put them ahead of us, but
you would.
Urban hasn't been there for all 5 of those years, so maybe we get a little bit of lead time there. But 5 years from now, what do you think? Let's just say, let's put it out there to maybe 5-6 teams. Who are the candidates? Could Miami really be a candidate to be up in that group every single year? Could Florida be a candidate to be in that group every single year? Who's the stronger candidate of the two?
Florida's the stronger candidate of the two, but I will say this, again, if Miami can ever cash in here, man, I mean, every year they get the benefit of the doubt with the preseason hype because people want Miami to be back. I think if you look big picture for college football, because they are such a name, people assume, and because that area is so fertile, the best of the best in recruiting, if you can build a wall, as they used to say, around the Coral Gables, you got a chance to not just win, but be dominant, as we saw when they won a bunch of national championships. But facilities-wise, they're behind, and that's why they haven't really been able to recruit to the same caliber. And also, they've had a bunch of bad coaches. Let's just say it, they've had a bunch of bad coaches. They seriously upgraded when they brought in Mark Richt. He may not be the creme de la creme, but he's an upgrade. He played there, so there's a passion he's going to have in recruiting Miami. And if he can win the Coastal and make the ACC championship, and that program can finally be in some of these significant games and win a handful, sure, I think he could flip it.
I think the interesting thing is, your dad talks about this. We talk about it. Things go in cycles. Everything is cyclical when it comes to the balance of power, and that's happened within the state since the late 70s, where every team has kind of taken its turn at different points. But when you're pushing the limits of consecutive wins over your in-state rivals, to me, that heightens up my sense for saying, well, at some point,
yeah.
And for us, the good way, 2010 was that year. I mean, remember, you were doing an interview down in Miami with a local personality, and they were kind of poo-pooing.
They were
Florida
condescending,
State.
yes.
And then what happened? That season changed the way everything was discussed. I'm not saying I'm living in paranoia, but I am looking at this right now.
Well, you always have to. Look where we are. The state of Florida is, along with Texas and California, where it's at when it comes to recruiting. You have talent everywhere in this state. And if you're old enough, I mean, I'm 46 years old. I've watched as various, the big three, had their time to shine. And there have been moments, of course, where all three were shining at the same time. And it was a wondrous thing to see, so much so that I always reference the Sports Illustrated cover with the state of Florida on it. As of late, it's been one of the three that has kind of dominated while the other two were down. And then out of those three, really it was a battle between Florida State and Florida while Miami just stayed down. Right now, Florida State's getting the best of that, and that is obviously to our celebratory mood on a daily basis. I got you. But you're not naive. Florida cares to win. They invest. Their athletic department is there and is put on notice on the regular that they are expected to win across the board. When you're down and you haven't had maybe the right coach, and you're trying to turn things around, it just takes a spark. You need a guy to bring in a hotshot quarterback who then is able to persuade people who would have otherwise been on the fence to come to your school, and you win a few extra games than you have been winning, and you've got momentum, and boom, it all turns around.
I just think this is a really important 2 or 3 year period right here, right now, with these coaches in place down in Gainesville and Coral Gables, to either be turned away and Florida State continues on for another 5-6 years worth of dominance.
It'll be a wondrous run.
Or they get a landmark win here or there. For Florida, I think it's tougher because the check and balance is, I think Georgia is upwardly mobile, and I think they're going to be dangerous. So from a national prominence standpoint, competing for national titles, Florida seems to have a little bit more of a bump on in the road than Miami does, at least to be playing for titles and realistically winning titles, because the path in the Coastal means that unless they get matched up across divisions with Clemson in a given year, which they just did a couple of years ago, man, all they got to do is win 1 or 2 big games a year. And if they do that, then all of a sudden I think that they can jump back into the conversation quicker than Florida can.
We think Fuente is a very good coach at Virginia Tech.
That's the check and balance that maybe, but here this year is a real opportunity for Miami
to
actually
great opportunity.
Have something tangible to say that they've actually done in the ACC.
Well, we've also gotten so gluttonous here at Florida State, though. We've enjoyed the fact that not only has Miami not been winning, they haven't won anything. They haven't won anything of any merit. Nothing. They've done zero zilch since they've joined the ACC. They've been a middling to subpar program, and so not only have they been down, they've been just sorry. And so we've made fun of them and laughed and wondered, openly about whether they could ever get back. I'm not one who throws it around. Corey and others do that. I don't think they'll ever be back. They'll be back. It's Miami. At some point, the right guy will light that spark. They'll bring in that talent that's down in South Florida. They'll put together, in succession, 2 or 3 big seasons. And then they're back off and running again. I don't know, maybe that even engenders the sort of mindset you need from some of the alumni and boosters to say, hey, you know what, I remember how much fun this is. Let's get back in the game and invest.
It just seems that they're knocking on the door for this year, the next year, and 2019. And I think this is a very important period if we're talking about what the state is going to be. And if the state is going to be where the national title goes through like it did in the 90s, then they have to take big leaps these next couple of years.
Let's hope they don't. And here's one thing to say about that, too. Remember, because you brought up Georgia, when a coach takes over a program that has cachet and he's a new name, It's not that first year. It's the second year that usually you begin to see the momentum in recruiting, right, if they're going to get it. They usually have good recruiting classes early on. If you don't cash it in, if you don't turn the program in the right direction, and all you are is an extension of average to subpar play that preceded you, you lose all of that top-of-mind awareness, forward momentum you get from bringing in a new guy who's going to implement his system, and he's going to be interviewed relentlessly because people want to know who you are, so you're out there, right? And you can sell a vision early on. Well, when you lose, it goes away. So Rick's got momentum, he's got name, and he's got, right now, real positivity. Let them lose 4 games this year.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
But and I'm not saying they will. Kirby's the same way at Georgia. He's feeling the uptick right now in momentum, and they're really recruiting well. But you got to win games. McElwain, he's at the crossroads right now. They've won, but they haven't really been a factor, and Florida fans know that. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
Get your Gravely motor only at TNT Supercenter, your one-stop shop for work or play. 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. TNTSupercenter.com.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Price includes dealer preparation charge.
Get your weekend started right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Saturdays at 6 a.m. with Fishing Florida Radio. Listen to the three amigos, Boudreaux, Steve Chapman, and Captain Mike Ortega as they catch you up to speed on what's new and biting in the North Florida region. Big-time guests, celebrities, interviews, and 3 hours of the fishing info you need. Fishing Florida Radio is brought to you by Sea Quarters Marina off Highway 98 in Carabel. Sea Quarters Marina, your full-service marina, and presented by Hobbit American Grill, locally owned and operated since 1978.
Tallahassee loves the corner pocket as much as a crystal ball winning catch.
He's looking, he lost it to the end zone. It's Benjamin! Touchdown! With 13 seconds left.
The 97.9 ESPN radio special is a must-have every Monday and Wednesday at the corner pocket. 10 mouth-watering wings, a fresh side of fries, and a chilled domestic pint of beer are just $9.79 all day long. Be sure and try the fish blend of sauces, a true wing eater's favorite. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
He's gone!
Home of Trivia Tuesday, Beer Bingo Thursday, and the daily $7.99 lunch special.
Brent, this month's topic is classic song lyrics. You ready?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Here's a lyric. American history, practical math. You study them hard and hoping to pass.
It's from School Days by the great Chuck Berry. He wrote and recorded so many great hits.
You mean like TNT Supercenter sells and services so many top golf cart brands with an enormous selection all under one roof?
TNT Supercenter customers can compare the top golf cart brands side by side. Club Car, Yamaha, Star EV, and the ultimate hunting vehicle to beat. TNT Supercenter has the largest selection of carts in the area. Pre-owned carts starting at just $19.99. New carts with a 4-year warranty starting at just $49.99. And at TNT, our service center and service technicians are trained, certified, and authorized for every brand we sell.
And there's plenty of parts and accessories too, right?
Our parts inventory is huge, and we'll dress up your existing cart with a full line of Mad Jack's premium accessory products like seat kits, light kits, lift kits, and now for a limited time, save 20% on all Mad Jack's parts and accessories.
TNT Supercenter, US 19 South, next to Dairy Queen in Thomasville, and online at TNTSupercenter.com.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Dolphins start training camp on July the 27th at the training facility there in Redneck, Davie, Florida. Sorry, Davie residents. And all eyes will be on Ryan Tannehill there because of the ACL, MCL in his left knee that he got hurt in December. Missed final 4 games. Got to get that right, don't we, Mr. Tannehill? We shall see.
That's the opponent for the Buccaneers in Week 1.
That's why I brought it up. Pumped about it. Speaking of Week 1s, I noted that we've been running a certain promo all afternoon long. And it kind of irritates me. Now, this gets sent down by ESPN Corporate. They say to Tom, hey, we got Jimbo coming through the car wash tomorrow morning. And we want your people to know about it. Perhaps you could promo it. And you say, sure, I'll do that. And then they're going to send us something. And this is the cheesy stuff they send. Go ahead and play that for people who have missed it.
Jimbo Fisher says nobody's better than the ACC when it comes to football. Did he give Alabama a little extra motivation when Florida State faces them in Week 1? Mike and Mike Ask Jimbo tomorrow morning at 8:30 on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Tallahassee's sports monster.
Mike and Mike Ask Jimbo tomorrow. Sweet Jesus. You think that guy's like this is... Did he give Alabama a little extra motivation?
It's good to know.
It's ridiculous. Like Saban's going to go, you know, guys, I was fairly indifferent about this big-time matchup against Florida State, but did you hear what Jimbo Fisher said about the ACC? I'm not having it, fellas. Today we begin to work just that much harder than we did the day before. We were kind of lollygagging through the thing yesterday. Maybe even last week some, but I just heard those quotes, and that's it. Extra sit-ups and leg lifts for you. It's time to get motivated. Let's do this thing, guys. Jimbo thinks the ACC is the best football conference in America. We have to show the free world that that is simply not the case. More jumping jacks, not less jumping jacks. Please.
You know, at some point in a production meeting somewhere, that had to come up. You know, what are we going to ask Jimbo, and how are we going to frame this thing, and how are we going to promo it? And at some point,
give Alabama.
Somebody greenlit that. Somebody in the production meeting said, man, you know what the most important thing we can ask Jimbo Fisher is? You know,
on Mike and Mike specifically.
On our flagship show for the next month or two?
Yeah.
We need to ask him if he disrespected the SEC, and has he given Nick Saban extra motivation? That's what we should ask him, because, you know what, I think he's going to give us a good answer on that one. I think he's going to give us a real heartfelt answer, because that's real. He actually did that.
Well, we'll get inside the inner workings of Jimbo Fisher's head if you ask that question, Mike. And I want you to ask it with the relative importance that you hear in the sound of my voice right now.
Hey, Jerry, let's promo that, because that's going to be the centerpiece to his appearance. It's going to be around 8:30, so make sure you note that.
All right, well, I am curious, first of all, who's doing Mike and Mike tomorrow? It's a cast of characters that are not named Mike and Mike most often these days.
Well,
so Greenberg and Golick's son, I think, were together today, which made for bad radio.
That's awkward, though, isn't it?
Well, yeah, especially since Golick Jr. went on a Twitter rant aimed at Greenberg and the other executives at ESPN.
Now, I didn't hear this because I wasn't listening, but apparently Greenberg went in on Kyrie saying he should stick it out with LeBron in Cleveland, and he was getting killed for that.
But this is, okay, I'm not doing this.
But you see, good God, sir.
I know.
You might not want to have a you should stick it out take.
And moreover, just stop that. In general, with today's NBA, every superstar has proven that they'll look out for themselves when given the opportunity, and to hell with everybody else involved. That's all of them. That's it. Everyone knows the NBA superstar rules the league now. He does whatever he has to do. And if that's look out for number one because he's worried that the other one has already decided to check out in a year, I'm not going to be left holding the bag. I'm not going to sit here and suck for the next 5 years. You're already going to bail. We all know that. I'm peace, man. You could just stay in Cleveland if you thought that LeBron was going to leave, and then you'd be the guy, which is what you want to be, but then you'd be in Cleveland. Nobody wants to be in Cleveland. Then you're stuck in Cleveland.
Joakim Noah was correct about that.
Yeah, then you're just stuck in Cleveland, man. So that's a toughie. They have to enjoy that championship. Now, the other way to look at that is they've been to 2 consecutive finals together, won one of them, lost to the other to a super team. I don't know where else you want to go necessarily, but if you don't think LeBron's going to be around, then all right. But anyhow, see, now, damn it, you sucked me into this talk.
But tomorrow it is actually Golick and Greeny. They're going to be there together.
Wonder how that'll be. A little friction.
Jimbo should ask them a question.
Over some coffee. How you guys doing?
You guys getting along still?
Yeah, everything all right? You guys, I used to like the way you interacted, and I just wonder.
Some of the coaches are telling me, they're reporting to me, anonymously, of course, that y'all don't get along anymore.
They hate you.
What's the latest with that?
And you hate him. Is that true? You guys hate each other? I want to know. I'd like to know that.
That's good to know.
I think the dead fish handshake hates me.
So I understand.
But it's okay. Sometimes you get hated. Doing what you got to do. Would be ideal. What would be even better, after the interview, he gets up and Lemon plays as he's walking out the room. That's just now following him at all times. That's just him.
The fact that that's sticking and becoming a thing really warms my heart.
I'm pleased. Yeah. He just gets up, gives a wink, a little handshake, walks out of the room, but he intentionally walks like he's in slow motion, looks back right there for that part, and then
We're
winks.
doing some good things. You know what I'm saying?
Shuts the door, and the music follows him. Down the hall, it just fades. It's perfect. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
Get your Gravely motor only at TNT Supercenter, your one-stop shop for work or play. 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. TNTSupercenter.com.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
The Jeff Cameron Show, Wake Up War Chant, Seminole Headlines, and The Front Row. All available in one easy app. The all-new WTSM app.
I'll try that.
Download today. Don't just listen to The Jeff Cameron Show. Watch it live. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Live, weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com today to watch live or catch up on demand. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Brought to you by Nice Tire and Auto, your trusted Goodyear dealer. 574-4100. And presented by TNT Supercenter in Thomasville, Georgia. And Franklin Spring Creek Ford.
Wonder what the outrageously energizing experience of Mountain Dew Kickstart is like? Well, it's like a combo of 3 awesome things. Dew, juice, and caffeine, rebooting your entire personal operating system.
Mountain Dew Kickstart is in position for consumption. All systems cleared for launch. Initiate launch sequence. T-minus 3, 2, 1, mark. Release the Mountain Dew Kickstart. Mountain Dew Kickstart released. Experiencing a charge of Mountain Dew Kickstart now.
Mountain Dew Kickstart operation successful.
You are now off the couch and out exploring the world.
Roger that. Get charged up for what's coming next anytime, anywhere with Mountain Dew Kickstart. Available in 10 energizing flavors like mango lime, raspberry citrus, midnight grape, and orange citrus. Mountain Dew Kickstart. Fuel with flavor.
RCD Shell knows how to keep you cool and refreshed. All 20-ounce Pepsi and Mountain Dew products are 2 for $2.22. That's right, 2 for $2.22. And 28-ounce Gatorade is buy one, get one free. It's more fun with Pepsi and Dew, so bring on the bubbles with these cool prices at RCD Shell.
It's back. The 14th annual Kingfish Shootout held in Carabel, Florida. August 5th and 6th is almost here. Entry fees are $300 per boat, and donations of $1,000 or more will receive one free boat entry. Fishing hours are Saturday 7 to 7 and Sunday 7 to 4. All boats must check in at the check-in station by 7 p.m. on Saturday and 4 p.m. on Sunday. Boats can be in the water but can't pass the checkout point until 6 a.m. both days. There will be a captain's meeting at Sea Quarters Marina Friday, August 4th at 6 p.m. Mandatory one person per boat must be present for rules. Sea Quarters Marina, 501 St. James Avenue, Highway 98 Carabel, 850-697-8400. Get your weekend started right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Saturdays at 6 a.m. with Fishing Florida Radio. Listen to the three amigos, Boudreaux, Steve Chapman, and Captain Mike Ortega as they catch you up to speed on what's new and biting in the North Florida region. Big-time guests, celebrities, interviews, and 3 hours of the fishing info you need. Fishing Florida Radio is brought to you by Sea Quarters Marina off Highway 98 in Carabel. Sea Quarters Marina, your full-service marina, and presented by Hobbit American Grill, locally owned and operated since 1978.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Man Cave Monday, brought to you by Experamac of Tallahassee. Experamac, Tallahassee's trusted tech source for Apple. Stopping at 346 South Magnolia Drive or call at 765-2012 today.
Day, good day, fun day, a lot of stuff. We're moving towards more new stuff, like football. Things are happening now. That's cool. Camp has started. Not ours, not Florida State, but the NFL is underway. That's just a fun thing to say, right? The NFL is underway. It has started.
It's unbelievable that, in 3 or 4 years' time, all of a sudden I care that much more about it. I've watched more videos on Buccaneers.com in the last 3 years than I did ever before, all put together. And that website was around for that first Super Bowl run when I was in high school.
Well, and listen, we both love Brad. Behind me is, you guys can't see it on the camera, but there's memorabilia from Brad Johnson from that Super Bowl championship for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, our team. But let's be really honest. Brad was good enough. And Brad was a pro's pro, and he worked really hard, and you could trust Brad. But Brad's not Jameis freaking Winston. He wasn't a franchise quarterback. This is the first time that the Bucs have ever had what would be known as a real franchise quarterback. I guess you could say Steve Young, and they let him go, or if you wanted to argue Steve DeBerg, no, I'm not going to do that with you. Doug Williams could have been. If the organization under Hugh Culverhouse hadn't been racist. But I would just tell you that, obviously this is a legitimate investment in a franchise quarterback, and he's put up numbers, and he happens to also be a Nole. So we will be absolutely riveted with each step in the progression, right? Because he's already did. And you know what he did? And he's not the only one. While we're on the subject, before I get to probables, here's what's happened to quarterback evaluation now for any fan base, right? When you decide, when your organization is in a position to draft a quarterback, top 10, top 5, whatever it might be, and they present it as, okay, we have a need at this position, and we are going after this guy. Well, when you pull the trigger, like let's say Mitch Trubisky this year in Chicago, all right? You know how much time you now have to show that you are a franchise quarterback? Like a year. That's it. If you're slow in the uptake, we're done here. Because what we've learned is this. If you are a franchise quarterback, indeed going to be the future of a franchise, something that they can build around, you reveal it very quickly, even in losses. The losses, you could go 2-14, and I can see you can play. We don't have anybody around you yet, hence we were drafting number 1 overall, and you're going to get your head kicked in until we can protect you, until we get a semblance of a running game. Maybe we add a tight end. We start improving in other areas so you don't have to do it all. But it's revealed. Like, for example, we've talked about this. They know out in L.A., that kid can't play. And it's over.
He didn't even play 16 games.
Dude, it's over.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons that you can tell, and so maybe that's harsh, maybe that's unfair. I don't think it is. I'm talking about the mindset of a fan base and even to some degree analysts. A kid will show you if he's got the makings, he's got something. It doesn't mean that he has to be great. It doesn't mean that he has to be can't miss. Like Jameis's rookie season, after that season, you said can't miss, got to invest, we're all in. If you weren't sure, you knew. I'd say that's probably true even of Marcus Mariota. I think Mariota, who has more talent around him or has had the advantage of more talent around him, I still look at him suspect. Those of you who know I'm biased would say, of course you do, Cameron. No, I think the league does. I think the league says, yeah, probably going to be good. Need to see you play a full season, young man, and let's keep stepping forward. Nobody's questioning Jameis. They're not. And when you looked at, go back to Russell Wilson. You and I loved Russell Wilson coming out of college because we saw him up close and personal, unfortunately, with NC State. And we saw that not only was he incredibly mobile and he kept plays alive, he could stop on a dime and throw a laser. He could throw from the pocket. He could read defenses, and he was undersized. So we said, maybe the size doesn't translate, but the game does.
And he had the pocket presence of a true pro.
Right.
Yeah.
And it didn't take long. He was winning the job in camp despite being a third-round pick. They were like, oh, well, there's my man. Because what they saw it. You see it. You see it. Most of these guys, Dallas, now I'll grant you that's a damn fine situation to walk into, but he didn't screw it up.
Right. In the salary cap era, that's as good a situation as you can possibly walk into.
But then he excelled. Like, okay, so if you tell me I've given this guy a running game, a line, receivers, a tight end, and well, he did what he's supposed to do if he's good, which he did.
To the point that Tony Romo was healthy, and they still started Prescott. Yeah.
They're like, look, Dak can do all those things. And you go, that is true. I'm envious of the situation he walked in and kind of pisses me off a little bit as a Bucs fan. But he did with weapons what you're supposed to do.
This might set a record for name drops in a short period of time, and I apologize for that in advance. But after we got off the air on Friday, we played a couple of holes of golf at Killarn and got to Gordo's North Side for our 19th hole. We were talking to Corey Simon about the football team and what was coming up for camp.
Well, that was seamless, sir. You're getting better. You're just getting better. As you enter your 30s, you're just getting better.
Yeah. But then after all that was done, I stuck around for one more water, we'll call it.
I got out of there.
And I was texting Lee DeKemper, our friend at JoeBucksFan.com. End of name drops. Anyway, he's telling me that he's running all these numbers on what Jameis has done so far in his career, and you have to also look at age. It's not just about seasons of experience. It's that he's really freaking young for a quarterback in the NFL. Jameis has 50 touchdowns before 23 years old. The next most for a quarterback under 23 in NFL history is Franz Harkington at 40. The thing is, even with all of these franchise quarterbacks starting in their rookie seasons, none of them are as young as Jameis. None of them have been on the earth for as few years as Jameis has.
Right. No, listen, and there are things Jameis has to get better at, and we know that. He's not the be-all, end-all, but he is upwardly mobile, and he is projecting wonderfully. So we're invested is the point why you're watching Buck News and Buck Camp stuff when they're running around through tires and shorts and a T-shirt. I mean, you're going to do that because he's shown that. But, I mean, Oakland's got a guy, and they've just invested. But we saw it that first year. We went, damn, they got him a guy. Like, you knew it. You watch a throw, man. You watch a game, and you go, they got him one.
Well, and this is where the homerism and objectivity can still exist at the same time.
Right.
You know, Mariota is a peer of Jameis. They're almost the same age. They're relatively in the same ballpark. Mariota hasn't been as healthy as Jameis. But if you watch what those teams are asking of their quarterbacks on a week-to-week basis, it's not even in the same solar system.
No.
One team is depending solely on a guy. The other one has all these other parts, and they need somebody not to crash into the side of a hill.
Well, and we'll see where the two careers go. They may both end up being very successful. And I've brought that up before, even in the midst of my bias. I've said, look, there are throws that Mariota makes that he made in college, and I said it, that he made it. He was unlike any other Oregon quarterback I had seen, that you could not just dismiss him. I said that. I did. And I don't love him because of the system he came out of, and I thought it would take longer, but he had everything. So we're still waiting.
He's doing what he's supposed to do up there. Nobody is denying that.
Right.
But one team is asking a hell of a lot more than the other right now.
One asked a quarterback who fully understands how to run a pro-style offense and fit balls into tight windows and when to take chances, and he's had to do it with all of one weapon. All right, so enough about that. My point is this. What we're doing now is, again, we have decided that in a year or two, I might maybe two, like if you switch offensive coordinators or you have a situation where the talent around you is so god awful, like the Jets or something, then maybe I'll give you a little bit more time. But they knew pretty quickly. Like, for example, they knew pretty quickly, and I hate to do this, but if we're going to be fair and balanced here, right? And I'm not referencing that. E.J. Manuel. Come on now. First of all, you know what I thought about that situation, which was I was happy for him. It was great that he got drafted where he did, when he did. When it happened, we all celebrated that night during the watch party because we liked him. And he was a Knoll, and he didn't do anything to embarrass the university or sully the name or anything. But just you and me being honest, we were like, what the hell are the Bills doing? We were stunned. It didn't take them but what, 6 games to go, my man can't play.
Yeah. The entire establishment did the exact same thing. They would, huh?
What in the world?
In the same breath. Yeah.
Right. And so you root for a guy and you just, but anymore, guys give you enough to know. Let's put it this way. They give you enough to know whether you should proceed all in on a guy, or should we, we do need a defensive tackle. Well, we just drafted a franchise. Well, have we drafted a franchise quarterback, Bob? That like those conversations, if you've got a guy and you know it's a guy, you go, we're drafting the receiver. We're drafting the receiver here. I like that deep. I don't give a damn. We just went all in on a quarterback. We're going to get him some weapons so he can do what franchise quarterbacks do. If you're not sure, I too like that defensive tackle. It just doesn't take much.
Yeah, I'd say you probably have 24 games before, if you haven't taken the next step, you can be in the middle, and people can be kind of guessing after a full season and say, I'm not so sure.
I just don't know.
I just don't. We're so bad, and football is such a team game that I really can't isolate it and see. Because there are moments when it's definitely his fault. There are moments when it's definitely the team's fault. There are moments when we're down 20 before he even has a chance to do anything.
Oh, yeah.
So defenses are playing off coverage. So now he's completing 70% of his
pin
passes.
their ears on everything too. Also, yeah.
How the hell do I know? How the hell do I know what I'm seeing? But then you get into that next year, and you get about into November.
I'll tell you what you do know, Tom.
Or
Universally, what you do know is when a guy will throw the ball down the field, or he won't. If he's checked down Charlie incessantly, even to the point where they say, we want you to take some chances down the field. This happened to EJ, by the way. They were noticing the completion percentage was high early on because everything was underneath. Everything was a check down. Nothing was down the damn field. And eventually it got out that they kind of told him in meetings, my man, when we get a shot in this league, you got to take it.
And we have Sammy Watkins.
Right.
After the first year, they went and got Sammy.
Well, and there were moments where he was very frustrated, and some others who were on that team got very frustrated. There was video that came out of guys running free in the secondary, and he had already gotten rid of the ball. He was afraid to get hit, and already gotten rid of the ball in the flats and taken the 4-yard gain. They had a touchdown. And nothing drives offensive coordinators more crazy than when you diagram a play and you call it at just the right time and you got what you want in singles and he beats his man off the line and your quarterback checks. No. Get the ball down the damn field. It's the Jimbo Fisher, I'd rather tell you to whoa than giddy up. And look back at a lot of these guys who've been very successful and gone on to have great careers at quarterback. They begin their career with a lot of interceptions. That's why it's not the death knell to throw interceptions. They do so because they take too many chances challenging NFL defenses, which have unique speed that they haven't really faced before, in situations that they probably should learn from and not do later in their careers. And they do adjust over time. It's a balancing act. I got enough of a get some in me to stretch the field and make you defend the whole place, but I also need to learn, hey, I got to value possessions here, because in this game, turnovers, in the NFL, turnovers lose you games. It's a balancing act, but the teams that have a guy that throw a lot of picks down the field, they're not necessarily worried about that. He can't do that there. He's got to understand in this situation it's a 3-point game. I can't have him throwing interceptions there. But you can hear the kind of language coaches use when they're talking about that. They're almost excited that the guy said, screw it. You want a guy almost like you want a gunslinger.
Yes, and everybody knows, in that first year typically for a franchise quarterback, because he's taken in the first 5 picks of the draft. Everybody knows that in that first year, chances are you're not competing for a playoff spot.
Right.
So in a sense, it's kind of okay to learn your balance. This is the time.
Yeah, learn that guy can close on that.
When you're 5 years old, and you heal up quickly, I don't want you to touch the oven, but if you touch it with your hand, you burn your finger.
Now you know.
You've learned the lesson, and you know what? You'll heal right up. It'll be about a week.
Yeah.
It'll be perfectly fine.
And you won't touch that damn stove again.
I don't need you learning that lesson on wild card weekend in year 3 of your career. You might want to know it now.
Well, if you've touched it repeatedly, I've got to wonder about where we're at on the IQ front then. We've got some issues, right? Let's rapid fire this thing, baby. Let's get some probables in before we say goodbye. Cue it up, good sir.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
Astros, Phillies, Brad Peacock, Vince Velasquez. A's, Jays, Chris Smith, Francisco Liriano. We got Orioles and Rays, Kevin Gausman and Blake Snell. Reds, Indians, Tim Adelman, Josh Tomlin. Kansas City Royals, Detroit Tigers, Jason Hamill, Justin Verlander. Marlins, Rangers, Adam Conley, Martin Perez. Rockies, Cardinals, Antonio Senzatella. Getting there. Mike Leake goes for the Cardinals. Braves, D-backs, R.A. Dickey, Zach Greinke. Red Sox, Mariners, Eduardo Rodriguez. Spit all over the mic. James Paxton.
I feel like it came through the earphones.
Twins, Dodgers, Bartolo Colon. Fatty Fat Fat said, I'm going to retire. No, I'm not going to retire. I'm fat. I'll try. I'll throw. I'll do whatever. Ryu's going for the Dodgers. We got Mets, Padres, Jacob DeGrom. I'm going to hurry, man. What's wrong with me? Slow down. It's only Monday. Clayton Richard goes for the Padres. My Buccos will take on the Giants tonight. Garrett Cole, you better be able to shut down the Giants. Sissified bats. Matt Cain goes for them. And that's a look at those that shall reside on the bump.
The world was new beneath a blue umbrella sky.
Good work out of you, Tom. Great work out of you, Matthew. And to those that called and or listen, I surely do appreciate it. You guys be well. Have a wonderous evening. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
One day